Hi, diddly ho, friendaloons. It's Rale. It's once again time to Nintendo things. And currently I'm joined by Whacker and Storm, with Andy potentially on the way later. Say hi, bud.
Howdy!
Today we're continuing Fire Emblem Engage. If I remember to actually turn my Switch back on. There it goes.
Pro streamers, ladies and gentlemen.
It went into sleep mode. I'm sorry.
Pro fucking streamers.
There we go. And set so that the lights can see it. Alright, so last time we beat the chapter we're on and saved the game before going through and getting everything. I have to remember what the dash button is because I've been playing Paper Mario Thousand Year Door on controller, and that's where my muscle memory is set to right now.
Yeah.
You don't have muscle memory.
I remember now that Colgate was something of a subject on the last.
What did we name the character? You can now manage your skills. Sensopai.
That's right, Sensodyne. Yep.
Hi.
Truly, we are brilliant.
Okay.
The most brilliantest. Is that the sound of an ant?
And the Andalus of Vans has arrived.
I apologize. I thought this was happening in the afternoon.
It is the afternoon. It's 6 minutes past noon. We are officially
Ladies and gentlemen, the thundering dumbass that is Andrew Andronicus Q Fenster Waffles.
Oh boy.
Yes!
So.
Hi, Andy.
Hello. How is everyone doing today?
I'm feeling fat and sassy.
Fat and sassy it is.
I am actually doing well. I slept well for the first time in a while. I had a
Well,
dreamless sleep, which is exceedingly rare.
A dreamless slumber.
Yes.
In your temple of Rale off the coast of Maine.
What?
I am torn about living in Maine. On the one hand, yeah, it's a beautiful state. On the other hand, I know about some of the people who actually live there. Great place to visit. Not sure I'd want to live there.
I'm curious now. Is it Chumbawamba reasons or what?
Combination of Chumbawamba
You're the Divine
reasons,
Dragon,
and,
right?
but most of it's actually small town mentality. Okay.
Me?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
My experiences with small towns is there are two kinds of small towns.
I'll cut
There's
right
the
to
kind of small
Our
town
friend Durton
where
wrote
they're
us and said he opened a shop at your base.
super friendly to everybody,
well,
and
we'd like to go
they'll
there
give
too.
you the shirt off their back.
We'll be
they
a
will
real help.
feed
I can
you.
strengthen your weapons.
My
And
clothes
then
and
there's the
accessories
kind of
won't
small
win you any
town that
battles,
thinks if
but
you're
they will
not one of
catch
the
eyes and
families
turn
that's
heads.
lived there for
If Durton
generations,
vouches
you're
for you,
dirt.
that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Please
Can
come
you
along
guess
to the
which
side
kind I
now.
went to high school?
Really? That's great. You'll be glad to have us around, I promise.
No.
Indeed.
Also, Rail, you're streaming all... Oh, never mind. Never mind. What you've got shared in Discord is different than what's on screen. My bad.
Really? You sure about that, darling? You're shaking like a leaf. I take it you failed to obtain the ring.
Apologies, ma'am.
So, how are you doing today, most Andalus of Vans?
But I can tell you things. Stuff that'll help you track it down. Like the fact that Princess
It's a
Zelda
day.
ran off with it. The Divine Dragon has it now. Pretty good
Yeah.
info, right? What do you say? How about we call it even this time round? I won't let you down again.
Yeah, I've been adjusting my volume some lately, so maybe I'm the...
After you fail me once,
Silent one?
People I don't have cranked up to 200%. So.
Oh, that's because Storm is naturally cranked up to like 400%.
There's a reason I'm called Storm Song.
Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh. So, I'm working on a song for Goat last night, and one of the things about this one is it's like 6 different Legionnaires singing all together. So it's like in the style of like a tavern song. And it's one of those things where it's like, A, I didn't know fucking Keegan the Stronk could sing, but he can. And, B,
I was
Patriot of the
expecting to get at
Ox,
least one.
also a very good singer.
At least now we know that Lumera is dead.
Nice.
Yes, but there's another divine dragon to take her place. I can't believe that beast had a child.
Well, he
That
is
does explain
Fukin the
why she was
Strong,
so willing to
like all of
sacrifice
the
her
Strong.
life.
What should we do?
Then there was
The
me,
battle at
Chippy,
Lethos Castle took its
Goat,
toll. We're in no
and...
shape for another confrontation.
Okay, I think
We
it's the
best
5
lay
of
low
us all
first,
together.
This
Leave
sounds
them
like it's
be.
going to be a trip
Well,
of an audio track.
Understood.
Yep, it's something, well, I'll keep the rest of it a surprise. I really shouldn't say too much.
Yeah.
But new Goat songs coming soon.
Oh boy.
The short version is that Tex wanted to revisit some of the old tracks and spruce them up to current internet standards.
Oh boy, we got the expansion pass bonuses.
Boy!
Which is
Steel
why.
Lance! Silver Lance!
Crystals!
Lots of
Oh
equipment
boy!
here.
Red Star!
We sell bread and
It is good that we
crystals.
can talk
Don't
after I
ask
spent so
why.
long silently watching over you.
I know
Look,
what you
Indeed.
mean. I'm
Parts
really
of the
glad to have
internet
you at my
have
side
standards.
supporting
I
me in
have
person.
standards. There's certain things where
You
I'm
do?
like... Look, my standards don't come up a lot because y'all are good people. That's your own fault for being wholesome and not complete degenerates.
Whacker, he said he has standards. He didn't say he had high standards.
No. I live for that like 3-second pause where the how dare is just forming in his mind.
How dare.
How rude.
The outrage is percolating.
You come into my house. You shit on my
Yeah, well,
desk.
I almost made like a bad observation.
No, not you, Andy.
Yeah,
No.
a horrible, terrible observation
No, not
about the map.
Oh no. What do you mean?
It looks like.
Oh, I see it too. Oh no.
Well,
I wonder if we see the same thing though.
I think we're all seeing a high school biology lecture right now.
Yeah,
Oh no.
they did this on purpose.
Mistakes have been made.
This whole game is about rebirth and birth and birth.
Can you give us a lecture on ovulation, Andy?
Please don't.
So,
I'd
Speed
rather
running
not
any
say-
percent, get kicked off the WBPL.
Right? Speedrun
Now.
to getting Rale kicked off the WBPL.
What? We're talking about
What's up?
natural,
Sorry. I didn't mean
normal
is there something
bodily
wrong with how I
functions.
You mean rolling in jello while
No.
yodeling?
Nothing like that.
look? Then tell me why
Look.
you're laughing already.
Look, just because the
You know how
Jello
you're always
is
so
natural.
confident? I was thinking about how plain it is
Okay,
on your
never mind.
face.
So
There's
Jello
confidence
is
all
like
over you.
Jello is like
Kind
that
of inspiring to
that
look at.
that
Which
goop
is
when
why
you cook
you were
like some meat
staring.
and stuff at the bottom of the
Forgive me,
pan.
Etienne.
No,
If it bothers
Jello
you, I'll
is
stop.
the sweetened
I don't
drink.
mind.
You're thinking of
I'm
collagen.
actually a little
Collagen
honored
is
to help out the
the
divine one. If staring at me lifts your
agent
mood,
that
go ahead. And stare
does
all you
like the
want.
wiggly thickening and
Thank
stuff
you.
like
Don't
that.
they?
I mean,
didn't they
it's a
like?
little
Isn't
embarrassing.
that what they originally
A quick
used to
jog
make
will
Jello?
help
Like,
keep my
hey,
mind
we'll
off
take
it.
this and
See
like
you around,
put
divine one.
Yeah, it's.
getting it.
I'm pretty sure it's what they still use.
Yeah, Jello is not a drink, Whacker. What? Like, Jello
Yep.
shots are a thing, but they're still not actually a drink.
Whacker
Jello is a
Whacker-
brand of gelatin dessert.
Whacker
Thank you.
opens up his Jello like cups and he puts a straw in it and he just goes.
Oh god, the worst part is I can imagine him doing that.
Well, wait a second. I seem to remember that there was a
Very
point where
nice.
we were looking into seeing like what's the cheapest way we could buy a bunch of Jello because we were going to do something with it.
What'll it
Yes.
be?
So Zira wishes to remind us educational is allowed, so hopefully the map won't get us banned. Blue Gentleman says if you can drink it, it's a drink.
I agree with Blue.
I slurp my Jello, I open it and slurp it like a
hard do you
thick
wanna go?
whiskey.
Ah,
Quote that. Please
I
quote
see.
that.
Vic,
I
whiskey,
reach
what?
across the room.
Night Owl,
and I
do us a
drink your
favor and
Jell-O.
Night Owl,
drink
that
your
must
Jell-O.
be saved for all time.
Nice.
fine. He
That
says.
is absolutely an all of us problem.
I get the long
You got
straw and I drink your Jell-O.
I drink
Super
your
cheap, baby.
milkshake.
Looking good.
Super Chief, what have you done?
My milkshakes bring all the oil barons to the yard.
Looking
And they're
good.
like, OPEC is a monopoly that.
Keep it up.
Okay.
Remember, Unga Bunga is just
Nice.
Chumbawamba by any other means.
Oh god.
Hang in there.
I want to be angry at that.
But you're not
Search
wrong.
your-
That's why
Search your
I'm angry.
feelings, you know it to be
Keep
true.
it up.
I really
ought to
want
be
to be
angry
angry
now.
at that.
You got this.
Like, I'm trying
I'm
to
so
be
proud.
angry at that, but okay.
We got a stat buff.
Don't you
Let's
giggle
do this
at me.
again sometime.
Giggle snort.
I am be dangerous now, not me hurt when stairs fall down. Be pushed by you, me hit head, me nose break. Soon you be dead.
Welcome.
Are you lounge singing Death
Here's how the
Clock?
smithy works.
Yes, I am. So strong in my faces, you punch, break fingers, kick me, you'll be limping, stab me, you'll be bleeding. Shabba-dabba-ba-dee-la-dee-pa,
Okay, we're gonna record an album of this at some point.
Andrew,
No!
I mean,
Whacker
I've
pulls
gotten-
up.
I've gotten obsessed
What?
with like Mayday songs recently.
Thank you.
what?
Like
Now,
Mayday
about the
style
boutique.
songs.
What?
Like shit people would sing around a campfire while people dance around the maypole, that sort of crap.
Oh.
That's just been what's like jiving with me.
You know,
And the
because
jewelry store is located in this part of the ovary.
too many like.
Damn
Hey,
it,
son,
Storm!
I am to the maypole.
No, it's no, Ty, lash him to the maypole.
There's been too many horror movies where just the concept of a
Be well.
maypole is just horror. I think of it
Thank
like
you.
something sinister is going on.
Welcome.
No, it's like that movie Midsummer or
And other stuff. I don't know. Is it those Smurfs?
God, are you talking about that horror movie like where they do the Burning Man thing?
yeah,
whatever it is?
it was
The
like
Wicker
Wicker Man
Man?
2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh, Storm.
I'm just letting you know, blue is not a natural color. I think Gargamel was onto something.
Thank you for that quote, Nine. Oh, that was also a good one.
Green is not a
So you can tell
creative
these
color.
nuts aren't paying attention to the game because they have not responded to what they've seen.
At this point, we expect
I choose not to. Oh, Rale, you are a child. You know that.
We've got swimsuits.
Okay, the hair physics
Oh,
in this
wow.
game
I mean,
bothers me. It bothers me.
Her hair looks plastic.
No, just how it kind of billows out. It really bothers me. The hair physics bothers me.
Well, if it just went straight down, it wouldn't. I've noticed that in hair and anime. If it just went straight down, it wouldn't look
Be well.
so. I don't know. I wouldn't say appealing. Just just wouldn't
See,
have as much
watch
hair.
when she moves. It's like instant, like full blown flaps, and we are now ready for takeoff.
Ramshackle poses us a question. What's a show trope you hate so much? I'll start overly humanizing the antagonist.
So I actually don't have a trope like that because I love tropes, and I'm very firmly in the belief that every trope is good if you use it right. Even things like Mary Sue's.
So in your case, then, let's reframe it as, what is a trope you see misused often to where you dislike the misuse?
Oh god, now you're gonna make me actually think.
What do you think on that?
I am starting to get tired of. Oh, the good guys are actually the bad guys. Specifically, like
Oh, you mean
I
the
mean-
Disney twist villain?
No, it's like forgive me, but it's like the church. They're evil and they're trying to like kill everyone. Oh, we gotta kill God.
I get that one.
I mean, once or twice is okay for the juxtaposition, but then
Andy, you're not allowed to use words of more than 2 syllables.
So
after your brain is 2 syllables.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I knew where it was going. Let's see.
So you have found it at last.
Vander?
My...
What do you know about this little one?
Not much,
I
unfortunately.
think the trope
It
that
began to
I
appear
am
shortly before you awoke from
falling
your slumber.
more and more out of
Queen
love
Mera
with
once
as I
said
see
It is
it.
something of a guardian spirit for the Somnia.
Uh-oh.
Claimed to have played with it.
Everyone's
in
a
her
freedom
youth.
fighter and everything now. Like,
She
and
did?
we live in a society that is
So this
hopefully
creature has
based
been
on
alive for a
democracy and
very
on
long time.
freedom and individual
You know,
liberty, but like,
I do feel
everything
sort of
is
affinity
now,
towards
you
it.
know,
It seems
you
to have
are the
taken a
rebels
liking
in
to you
Star
as well,
Wars,
Divine
/ you
One.
are the resistance,
Would
/
it
you are
please
the
you
Hunger
to care for
Games,
If it is truly
sparrows,
the
or whatever they
guardian
call
spirit
themselves.
of the Somniel,
Like,
doing so
everyone's
may bring
Braveheart
some
now.
manner of
will you
benefit.
die?
Oh,
The
what a great
resistance
idea.
lives on.
Now that I
Yeah,
think
it's
I'd
very
like
much
us to be
that. That's the
friends.
one for me that
Let's
gets a
see.
little overdone. And, like, don't get me wrong, there's some
Call
really great stuff like that. Like, Braveheart, massively messy and inaccurate movie, historically speaking, but good movie.
1995
naming
was
the
an
dog
absolute... What?
What are we naming the
dog?
dog thing?
How many characters? Just 8?
We have 8 characters.
Tuttles.
No.
Tuttles. Tudd. However you spell Ulls.
Actually,
No, I was going to say
That is
something like...
name on. Let's check.
Super Chief says he hates drama situations relying upon contrived misunderstanding between one or more. Yeah, when 2 sentences could have fixed the problem.
Yeah,
That's the tragedy of errors.
Like, there are good ways to do it, but yeah.
I'm going
characters,
to...
lads, whoever redeems name in game first can name the dog thing, assuming it's appropriate, obviously. Otherwise, we'll
Okay,
go with
redeem
them.
name in chat real quick, somebody.
I believe in you.
While you guys fight over that, Digiman says he hates all fathers in animation seem to be stupid now.
Oh, yeah, the fathers being a...
Digiman was first. Digiman gets to name the pupper.
Yep.
Name the pupper!
Name the
Nothing
pupper.
cursed.
But yeah, I also don't like the fathers are all actually incompetent thing. Like, I understand it. It's character tropes and people wanting to...
Not like
so I
bad
find
cursed.
most tropes become a problem not when they're used poorly, so much as when they become overused.
Digiman says in honor of his trope, call the dog Goofy.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know if you heard me. I think I was like lagging or something, but I'm pretty sure that cute little fuzzy dog thing is like has a second form it transforms into. That's like something straight out of Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's like fuck, kill, soul murder shit.
Yeah.
No.
So the Beast of Darkness from Berserk as well. Hello.
Yes, I like that name.
Well, and it's like with
nice
something
to
like
meet you.
Berserk, it works because it was
Hope
like
you like your new name.
not the first time, but
looks
it was
well
like sort of the
pleased.
originator of
Don't
the
forget
thing.
to say hello to it. next
Then
you
everyone
see
just
it
kind of
around.
catches on and starts doing that thing.
So, Ramshackle, the flashback trope comes from a sort of... It comes from the effect of a plan going perfectly that you've already been shown isn't entertaining. So it creates the flashback to show... You don't show them the planning stage, and then you show it with flashback as one of the writing tools to use that.
I'm going to throw one that I feel I'm actually going to say is tied in my mind with Super Chief's suggestion, and that is the overuse of time fuckery to do stuff, like inappropriate, flagrant overuse of time as a storytelling vehicle, like time travel, all that kind of shit.
Time travel is one of the easiest tropes to screw up. Because it's so complicated, and you have to use, like, how does your time travel work? You have to get very detailed, or people are going to get real pedantic about it real fast.
Or the reverse. You just don't. Like, you're like, hey, we use time travel. We can answer any questions? No.
And see,
moving on.
That's entirely
like original Star Trek time travel. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Honestly, I'm of the opinion that more series need to not explain their mechanics.
I'll be your opponent.
Yeah.
You don't need to know why it works the way it does. It just does.
Using a warp.
This takes place in another world. It doesn't have to be realistic. It works like this.
So using warp to slingshot yourself around a star will cause you to go back in time? Apparently. Cool.
I know I'm opening a missile silo full of worms with this one, but I like when the Force was mysterious. Like, how the fuck does the Force work? It's like, it's very mysterious. And then
like prior to the metachlorians and all that.
Now I will.
That was so fucking.
Okay, my headcanon is that the whole metachlorine thing was a fad that was a popular belief amongst the Jedi Order for about 5 years. And everybody's like, oh yeah, we totally believe this. And then after a while, they're like, it does sound stupid. Let's just forget about it.
A training session with you should be interesting.
You know how stuff like that happens, you know? Like, you know, I bet there was a time that the Jedi liked fidget spinners.
You're as strong
with
as
blades on them.
I mean, we've seen a fidget spinner lightsaber at this point.
Yeah.
What?
So part of that is just because of how long Star Wars was ongoing. Like, that's not something like the prequels or the sequels did. If anything, you could make an argument that it was actually the books and the expanded universe that did that more than the prequels or the sequels did.
But let's just take, like, the original movie by themselves. The Force was mysterious. Like, the most you ever get explained about the Force is Yoda, and I love this, whole quote, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter, the rocks, the trees. So, like, the only way to understand the Force was...
crude matter?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, the only way to understand the Force was specifically mystical.
Yeah, then you get people who complain in the prequels of, oh, so the Force just works like that now, okay. Because they think the Force needs to have set rules. And I'm going to drop this of, the Force doesn't really have rules, because the Force is literally Deus Ex Machina incarnate.
Well, not even Deus Ex Machina, it's Deus. It's the god in that setting.
You know what's worse than
you don't even need the Machina at that
point. The
point.
Force does whatever it needs to do to move the plot along. And this has always been the case.
And that's
it's magic, so therefore it doesn't necessarily have any rules to follow.
Very much so.
Or, it does have rules, but it's a soft magic system. That gets into Sanderson's whole like soft and hard magic systems and all that.
It's one of the softest magic systems.
So actually, I wanted to drag back to a point real quick that Mr. DG had brought up, which was concerning over-explaining the justification or reasoning of the bad guy. Which, yes, there are way too many times where it's like it almost like sanctifies what the bad guy is doing. Yeah. I do think it's important, not all the time, like sometimes you just need a villain like the Horned King from the Black Cauldron.
Yeah, there's value both to having villains who are just evil for the shits and giggles and don't need no explanation, and for having villains who have the gray and gray morality, where, yeah, you can understand why they're doing what they're doing. It's definitely wrong and we need to stop them, but I get it.
Yeah. And like the example for me right now, and I'm of course a big Final Fantasy VII fanatic, but in going through it, one of the things I like about some of the expanded lore they've been doing recently is everything they do to expand Sephiroth's backstory has not served to like justify him in any ways. It's like, no, the man's an absolute psychopath and needs to be stopped. We're showing you how that psychopath was made, and it tugs at the heartstrings, but it doesn't justify what he's doing.
It does. It explains. It doesn't excuse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
and yeah,
this is that's been on my mind with all this is
Did you-
I will
did you
state
pull
you do
grapes from
not
an apple
need
tree?
to explain your power system, and there's value in not explaining your power system. And I say that as someone who loves crunchy power systems, but not every
Howdy, Mr.
system
Jiggle.
needs to be a crunchy power system.
Yeah.
You know, a good benefit of leaving such things vague as well is, you know, you can figure it out.
Make magic magical again.
Yep.
Hashtag make magic magical again.
God damn it, Rale!
Also, Rale, your voice is low in the stream mix, says Mr. Chief.
Oh, why is my voice low?
Mr. Jiggle says howdy to everyone.
Boop, there we go.
The question of did you just pick grapes from an apple tree came up, and Ramshackle says even Megatron has become a sympathetic villain at this point.
Look, I will say this. I really, really hate when they... I think somebody said this earlier. They go out of their way to try to like overly humanize or create sympathy for the villains in a particular story.
Mm-hmm.
That said,
Good morning.
I have found that,
I
speaking
got
of
it.
going
And the
outside
cherry
of
on
your
top?
comfort zone,
There's
the
no need to
real
Who's
thing that
teasing?
kind of
Wouldn't
woke
you
me
be
up to
just as
this
happy to
was
wake up
Game
to
of
the sight of a
Thrones,
friend?
and it's where
Well, yes.
they
I do feel
they
happy
create
when I see my
situations
friends.
where it's not
See?
hard
Me
and fast,
too.
like who's
But,
the good guy and who's
look,
the bad
isn't
guy.
there anything I can do for you?
It shows
You've
that
been
there
awake a
are,
while, but it must be hard. There's bound
the
to be a lot
gray
you're still
border is
adjusting to.
very,
Tell
very
your friend
broad
Alfred
and
all
vast. And
Well,
there-
there's a
Let me think.
there's a particular book out there that's probably worth reading if
No,
you're ready
there's
for a heavy
nothing bothering
read.
me at
Parentheses,
the
not
moment.
everyone is.
Good. Great. But
Called
if there is
Ordinary
something,
Men.
Well, I want
Oh,
to first know, before you
I've
left
already...
Legos, you asked me as a
Yeah,
friend
you're talking
to
about
teach
the
you
book
things to
about,
help you adjust. And
by
The
no,
villain
Christopher
of World War
Browning.
II and how ordinary men found themselves
Our friendship makes
fighting
me
for
happy.
him.
Yeah, it's about Reserve Police Battalion 101, which was the third most deadly Einsatzgruppen
Yeah.
in
And-
Nazi Germany.
And how many of those men did not, think of themselves as evil and thought they would never do something like that, but, it's worth reflecting on how, whole armies go down that path.
Well,
Real quick, I want to respond
Are
to
you
something
all right
Mr.
there,
Jiggle
Divine One?
said about people falling to the dark
Sheriff?
side.
Why do you
It's
ask?
less that they
Oh,
use their emotions
I
and
just
more they
thought you
get
seemed a little
lost in
worn
their
out.
emotions and lose the
Ouch.
self-control.
You noticed?
That's what falling to the dark
I
side
am.
is. Your
That's not
emotions
good.
rule you rather
You're
than
eating
you
3
rule
meals
your
a day, I hope.
emotions.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the light side
I
is
don't think
supposed
my
to be
diet
you
is the
rule
issue.
your emotions to
Well
the point
then,
that you
how about your
kind of
sleep?
ignore them, and that becomes problematic also.
So you're eating and sleeping.
Well,
and
but you still
I also
feel
love
groggy.
the
It could be
war
stress.
in Warhammer 40k.
You think
I
wouldn't be
don't like it being
surprised.
used
Going to war
too
is stressful
much,
for anyone.
but I do
Well,
like
what
the
have you been
idea of
doing
like
as
we
stress
put
relief?
nails in this box and a pipe on it, and then
Nothing.
we can use it as a
It
gun.
hadn't even occurred to
But
me.
a little bit of a
Why?
lift,
What do you do?
not too much.
I have
you know?
several ways
So
to
war
lower
is
steam.
fun, but it's one of those
Like
things that
going up a
if
mountain
you
alone
end up
and
using it too much,
spending
it's
some
going to
quiet
break your
time
system
fishing.
over its knees.
Wow.
Which, mind you, works
That
in
does
Warhammer
sound
40k
relaxing.
because
Would you like
it's
to join me
Warhammer
sometime?
40k, and there's a
The
bunch of
alone
stupid
part
crap
of it is optional.
Well,
Really?
in Warhammer 40k, the hard magic system is
Please
your
come get me
magic
the
is
next time
dependent
you head
upon your side fulfilling its aesthetic of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
Also, just to point out, the space orcs can and are often come across as comically bad guys, but they do actually do some legitimate, like, almost Dark Eldar-esque evil stuff. So,
Yeah. Their
they're
motivations are
definitely
just
not
different.
good guys, or they're definitely like not bad guys. They're definitely like, at least by our human standards, evil. Like human farms. That's not a fun thing to read about.
Yeah.
I mean, most of
But yeah.
Warhammer 40k, to my knowledge, is supposed to be there's not really any good guys. Everyone's kind of a jerk, and who's the
Yeah,
least
on-
jerkiest.
On some level, I'm not sure if it counts as parody or satire, but it's kind of one or the other.
I would almost agree that Tyranids are a non-evil faction, but in a
Simply
way,
because
though,
they
there
lack
is like a
capacity.
sentient will against them that's could
Tyranids
probably
are jerks in the same way Whacker is, by just inhaling all the food everywhere.
actually
What?
there are intelligent
What?
Tyranids that they could. You know,
Wow! Rale, you chose
Okay.
violence today.
Okay.
You
All
okay,
right.
Whacker?
And now is
Yeah,
the time
this-
to do what I've been planning for a while. Whacker, I'm calling you out, you motherfucker. Everyone, I want you all to know that Whacker is a very good friend. I lost my dog last week, and Whacker is one of the very few people who has actually been checking up on me and my wife. So you are appreciated, Whacker, as much as I sass you sometimes.
I appreciate that, and even though I never met the boy, he was known to all. He was loved by all.
Yeah.
We love each other's pets like they are our own because they are important parts of our lives.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Lord Grimo says losing a family member is always rough.
These pills ought
Yes,
to clear up the
it
problem.
is.
Let me know if the pain
And,
persists,
yeah.
okay? And you're
So,
looking
yep.
chipper today. I
You know what's
told
also a
that
bad
cold would be
trope?
gone before you know it.
Father,
Sand.
isn't it time
Your
we
face.
took a
It's
break?
coarse and
Look,
gets
I
everywhere.
made you some tea.
Thank you, John.
Mr. Sandman,
Burn yourself or anything.
bring me a
Give me a
stream.
You
drink.
worry too much. I'm
I should
old
also
enough to
go back
manage
to
a simple pot
context
of
with
tea,
me
I assure
talking
you.
about
It makes
Star
me happy
Wars
to
stuff.
see you growing
I'm
up
the
so
guy
fine.
who is actually
What's going on out there?
enjoys the
Doctor,
sequels.
you have to help us. Monsters
Yeah,
are
you
so
are an
The
absolute
prequels are-
degenerate in that fashion.
The prequels
And
are
me.
peak Star Wars. The prequels are better than the original trilogy. Fuck you, fight me.
Okay, okay, all right.
Well,
That's it.
This was
That's
the-
fucking
pulls
it.
out
No,
my face.
no. That's it. Okay, Rale,
If you're unhurt,
Rale,
someone who's injured.
you have opened the door on this.
I know Father
You
told
are
me
going
hide,
to
but
reap
how can
the
I? I
whirlwind.
have to do my part too.
This is not going to be pretty. This is not going to go well for you. I'm going to enlist Crispy's help with this.
Uh-oh.
Look,
He's gonna put you on an electric
the
scooter with an
original
oxygen
trilogy
tank and a
never
steering.
had me outside my house in the middle of the night playing lightsaber duels with my little brother. The prequels
no.
did.
I mean, Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates
moving.
fucking
Yeah.
slaps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
No,
Probably
I
the best thing that came out of that series.
it took me a while, but I came to I also accept the prequel trilogy.
Save those villagers.
I accept it now. It's not the
Wacky.
best, but I accept it.
Leave the corrupted to us.
Why is it that the phrase
Jiggles
coming
said
from
it's
you,
not
it
hot
took me a
take.
while,
Lots
sounds the
of
same?
different
You didn't make it out in
Clone
time.
Wars, which are the movies.
We'll do everything in
Also,
our power to
Ramshackle,
save
that's
as
not a
many of them
rumor.
as
That
we
is confirmed. Like the studio's
They'll love
working
you
on
for
that.
it if you do. You're their last
What?
hope at this point.
They are making episode 10, or they're in pre-production planning phases of episode 10 now.
Oh boy.
I mean, fuck that.
But let's focus on positive things.
Yeah, like how I'm going to beat
Like
the
fancy.
snot out of Rale at the meetup.
My
Like how you know, I'm gonna hold off on bringing that one up for a minute.
my favorite trope and kind of story, well, one of my favorites is like the misunderstanding, and a lot of it in like, especially in manga, is like everyone assumes this person is like just a brutal monster or a badass, but he's just like, he just always constantly has circumstances work against him. Even when he's trying to explain himself, it's like, oh my god, he's like, you know, a bully tries to
hate
punch
that
him, he
trope,
slips on a
Andy.
pencil and kicks him in the face, and it's like, oh my god, he's a martial arts master.
So you're
I
a fan
hate
of
that.
the King Engine.
Yes, I'm a fan of the King Engine. I'm a fan of, what was it, the High School Hurricane and Detsu Angel. It's like, I love that. It's like, and it's like, oh, we heard it. He beat this guy. Well, he must be a good fighter. We got to go fight him. He's like, no, I don't want to fight.
Any trope that involves like the whole, like what Super Chief mentioned, like the comedy of errors, the simple misunderstanding could have fixed like all of this.
Mhm.
Those grind my gears.
There are good ways to do it, like the original, the first Smoking Aces movie, I think, had a really good version of that. But that was because that was kind of meant to be a tragedy of errors. Like, it was supposed to show, you know, if you go in on something like this with only partial information, people are going to get killed.
Yeah.
But
I find tragedy of errors runs into the real issues that too many people used it poorly too often, and people got tired of it. It's a case of when one particular trope gets super popular. A prime example of this is the Disney twist villains. The Disney villains, who was the first Disney? That was the prince from Frozen. Yeah, Frozen, I loved that twist. That was, pun entirely intended. That shit was cold as ice.
You're cold as ice.
Like that was great, and I actually like the Disney twist villains. I think the problem is they did too many in a row, and they stopped doing the old style of Disney villains, like the Jafar and the
Ursula and Maleficent.
Yeah, the ones who are just revel in it. They need to mix it up. And that really always becomes just a problem with Hollywood, because Hollywood, first and foremost, is there to make money, so they're going to go with what they believe is a safe bet. People really enjoyed the twist villain in Frozen, so they're like, okay, everything's twist villains from now on.
Yep.
Because people
and unfortunately,
got tired of just evil villain, evil villain, evil villain, so they tried twist villain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yzma is just Ursula, but South American.
Well, and more comical. The other one there is, like, okay, I get sort of like, if you have a spoof like Twisted, which was a play on Wicked, it's, what's that company? I forget their name, but it was a spoof on Aladdin where they do everything from Jafar's point of view. And
Descendants, the kids of the Disney villains?
No, this was a spoof. That like a college theater company put on that got really famous on YouTube. So something like that where you're making fun of, okay, let's look at it from the villain's point of view for comedy's sake. But then, you know, Disney started making all these, like, oh, let's reinterpret the villains as if they were the good guy movies, and, like, maybe Maleficent was okay or something like that.
Oh, are you talking about that play Wicked where they...
But I'll get back to that in a second. Give me a minute. But I don't know how you get from there to, you know, okay, we misunderstood this villain, to the character that wants to skin puppies just to make a coat has a sympathetic backstory. Like, you know, yeah, you have Twisted, you have Wicked, you have Maleficent, but
Don't know how much use you'll
the
get
Cruella
out of
de
this.
Vil one,
Every
just,
little bit helps.
it's like, no, I'm sorry, you can't make that sympathetic. She wants to kill puppies to make a coat.
My will is firm.
No, so what I'm talking about, Whacker, is there's a company, I think they're called Star Kid, they make spoofs online. They made one called Twisted, which was making fun of Wicked, where it's Wicked, but it's Aladdin from Jafar's point of view instead of the Wizard of Oz from the witch's point of view.
Okay.
And it makes the Sultan out to be completely incompetent, Jasmine's a spoiled princess, Aladdin's a complete psychopath.
So,
anything.
Kind of like that, what was that thing you made me watch? Final Fantasy Abridged? Final Fantasy VII
Well,
Abridged?
it's kind of like the Abridged series, but that was a Team 4-star affair.
Yeah, spoof,
that-
the Abridged series and a spoof are closely related. Abridged tends to still play close to the plot. Abridged is more cranking everything up to 11, while spoof is actively hanging a lampshade on everything.
Making Tifa into a mean drunk hurt my soul.
This is fair, but it does still get to the point that a lot of the problems in that story could have been avoided if Tifa was more honest, if Cloud was more honest with himself, if Barrett wasn't constantly trying to, you know, kill his own pain. Like, so it gets the characters correct unto themselves, but it also exaggerates certain things just for, you know, the gets and shiggles.
Feels
so, like,
bad, man.
Yeah, if you ever watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged, for example, Goku's a complete fucking idiot. And actually kind of a terrible call.
How is that different from...
No, I mean a complete idiot.
Yeah,
like,
more so than usual.
Yeah. Allo says, see my vest, made from a real gorilla's chest. Feel this sweater, there's no better. than authentic Irish setter. Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Wrong Romans. Sorry, I just realized I'd let Chet go for a bit, yeah?
I actually, I have a concern about something. You notice, like, whenever there's like they're trying to show off stuff for Star Wars and all that, they're get a character to represent stuff like that, or they do a play. It's always Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers parading around, and people are cheering and
I've taken some hits.
like inspired and stuff, and I'm like, they're the bad guys, right? Like, I understand that Darth Vader's imposing and powerful and all that, and that's the allure of him, but he's a baby killer. He killed them kids.
Andy, I'm gonna DM you something.
So what that is, Andy, is people don't really pay attention to, like, it's like the subcategory superpowers that you would have in order for this superpower to work. In that people don't pay attention because they just enjoy the villain. So they're less cheering his actions and more cheering the dope character who just walked on screen.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
It's like getting hyped in wrestling when a really good heel comes in.
Oh yeah.
Like, you love
usually like The Undertaker or someone like that.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just taking a little too far. It's like how I get disturbed sometimes when people like the Decepticons. I'm like, no, hold on a minute.
Oh no, it's entirely valid, because there's some people who they're liking things for the wrong reasons. There's definitely people who take that in a bad way.
That does remind me of a weird thing that happens in the 4th season of My Hero Academia. You have this one hero, Endeavor, who is an absolute shit show of a human being, and he finally realizes, oh my god, I'm a shit show of a human being, but now I'm the lead hero of this entire team, and I have to be better. He doesn't even know how to seek redemption yet. He's trying to, but he doesn't know how. So then he goes out and tries to be nice and, sign autographs for the fans and such. And one of the fans gets mad at him for that because the fan always liked him for being the callous, angry, not nice member of the superhero band. And so it sort of animated that whole, you're supposed to be the jerk of the group.
And again, sometimes there's value.
I'm starting to feel it.
And then, yeah.
Let me help.
But yeah, I do like that they actually, like, it did seem a little like, oh god, they're going to try to give him a redemption arc, and then they're like, oh, they're giving it to him, and he's not going to enjoy a single minute of it.
Yeah.
And every sin he has committed will be laid bare.
I won't
But
get lost.
yeah, that is another trope is...
Non-permadeath or not.
Yeah, that is another trope that gets difficult, is unearned
What are
redemption
my-
arcs.
What are my 3 favorite villains? I guess, or I would say, I'm going to say 4. And they probably all look the same to some people. Like, you put them side by side and it's like, there's a shared similarity here. But Darth Vader, Sephiroth, Sauron, and the Rankin Bass movie, Schmog, the dragon. Particularly the Rankin Bass movie one. The current, like,
wait, that was
movie
Rankin
one.
Bass. That was a,
It was Rankin Bass.
Was it?
You're thinking of Ralph Bakshi.
Yep, I'm thinking of the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings movies. Sorry, that's my bad.
I mean, they got kind of traded back and forth a few times, so
Is it go time?
Yeah. Like, that one, he came across as confident and powerful and, like, like an actual, like, this is a living natural disaster that's capable of wiping out kingdoms.
Okay,
Whereas
so... Oh.
I'm sorry. I felt that the Smaug in the Peter Jackson movies, I felt like he was a whiny, like, princeling that just had a little bit more power than he deserved. It's like he didn't come across as competent or He just sounded whiny to me. I didn't like it.
So coming back on your earlier point, Andy, Four Dancing Lights said something, and I wish I hadn't missed it here, but people don't pay attention, just like all the people saying they wanted Joker and Harley's relationship. No, you don't want Joker and Harley's relationship.
I can't.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of heart for a kid your age.
All right. Let's join forces and save those villagers.
But yeah.
I really
So,
appreciate the help.
returning to this part of the
John.
conversation.
Now come on. There's work to do.
Yes,
I mean, the thing about
we named the dual tone hair person Senso Pie after the Sensodyne toothpaste, and Senpai because that joke will never die if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, we know.
Oh, I was sad
we know, Rale.
No
I was sad you
regrets.
weren't there for the first 2 streams of my Final Fantasy VII Whacker because we've been waiting for you. We decided just for spite's sake alone that we were going to name her Aerith.
You son of a bitch.
You changed to no other name.
So, Aiden, does it help if there's plot reasons their hair is stupid?
What?
There's a reason that main character Power's hair is the dual colors like it is.
Does it have anything to do with the Nintendo Switch?
No. no, that would not be unexpected.
It's not because like the Switch controller panels are 2 different colors and it would really look well together.
No, if they were gonna do that, they would have done it with 3 houses. Oh, that makes it worse. Oh no.
Adieu.
Well, Aiden, you do know you're welcome to come in here and complain about it in person.
Do it. Get that sassy voice of yours in here to slap Rale around with your vocals.
What a workout!
Oh yeah. I thought of a neat little. Go ahead.
Jiggle was asking, doesn't Colgate make a toothpaste like that? Yes. The reason we didn't go with Colgate is because it doesn't work as good at combining it with Senpai. For those who don't know, Senpai was what we named the teacher character in 3 Houses on a different streaming service.
And then the last name of my character in Persona 5 as well.
Yeah, so it's become a meme of JRPGs we name our character Senpai.
I feel like this is also related to your constant attempts to turn me into a damn degenerate weeb.
No,
Like,
I just enjoy the joke. I like the play on words. And in the Pokemon game, because the Pokemon region for Violet and Scarlet was based on Spain, we named the character Spain Pie.
Yes.
It's
a pie made out of
Senpai. It's a Japanese term for like older student sort of thing.
The senior in the same discipline I'm engaged in.
Yeah.
I was thinking of an interesting, like, it was a thought, and I'd like to see, like, either see it as, like, in a D&D sense or in a video game or something like that. Like, you're in control of a dragon trying to destroy a kingdom.
Thank you for checking in on me. Do you think you could use this? There's not much I can do with it, at any rate. Better it
Isn't
should
there
go
a
to
game
a
called
soldier like yourself.
something along the lines of Dragon Commander?
I would like to have it where it's like a singular dragon instead of having an entire army to himself. Like, I mean, I guess you could just say, "Oh, I fly over the main city and burn it down," but I don't know. I'd like to see more methodicalness out of it. Like, I'm going to start slowly start burning the countryside and
Basically,
pushing the peasants
you
toward
wanna
the center of this kingdom so that they're overwhelmed, and then boom, 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 and all that.
You basically want to do what Daenerys did at the end of the season that didn't happen because we all.
I wouldn't know. I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
So Ramshackle, in response to beach episodes, there's a reason. Beach episodes are an easy way to make fan service, and the reason why Japanese anime in particular, but a lot of stuff has fan service, is not because everybody's horny all the time. Well, okay, at least not the creators. What it is fan service is an easy way to generate interest in merch.
Yep.
And oh boy, do the Japanese love their merch. Fun fact, you can entirely live a normal life using nothing but Evangelion merch, up to including the train you take to work.
If you live in Japan.
If you live in Japan, obviously.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, must live in Japan.
I don't know. That seems like a big deal.
It's one of those things of beach episodes are an easy way to generate fan service, which is an easy way to generate interest in merch. Yes, Ramshackle, there is an Evangelion train. There's Evangelion toothpaste. There's a whole YouTube video about it that I once watched that was, can you live off of Evangelion merch? And the answer is yes.
Why?
So, this brings up another trope that I've been noticing in shonen anime recently, especially, or action anime in general. And it's not like this didn't happen and stuff before, but it's becoming more and more pronounced, I think, with like Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia and a lot of the like newer Gundams and such. The hospital arc. Because you have to acknowledge at some point, if your hero is going to drive themselves that hard, they are in fact going to end up in the hospital at some point.
Yeah.
What a pick-me-up!
There was a little bit where Goku was in the hospital.
There was an episode.
There was a little bit where Goku was dead.
Well, okay, so let me clarify the big difference there. Goku was in the hospital until they got him a sensu bean. Deku's in the hospital until they get across to him, if you keep doing this, you're going to permanently break your tendons. Your bones are already dangerously fragile. Like, you're hurting yourself.
Real quick, what was the question Whacker asked before you?
I don't remember.
Shoot, because I had a really good response, like an actual legitimate response to it.
We need to send Deku calcium supplements.
What?
And creatine.
Yeah, why didn't Deku just juice? Come on, man. You want to be all
Yeah, man, he's got to get on his fucking gear.
That
Come on,
is terrible. Man. We do not endorse that. For legal reasons,
no,
this is a joke.
For actual reasons, that is a joke. We do not endorse anabolic steroids.
Have you, or Whacker at least, have you read The Wrong Way to Train a Healer, I think it's called, or The Wrong Way to Use Healing Powers?
I have not. I have heard about it and not gone through and watched it yet, because I've got too much other stuff to watch and or play.
Can I give a synopsis?
Go ahead.
Fate has brought us here.
So,
well, wait a minute. Does it include spoilers for those who do not want to?
No, I don't think it's spoilers. It's like the juxt of the show, you know. It's
back of the movie box is fine.
Yeah. Basically, it's the typical isekai, like, you know, a bunch of kids or a group of characters are transported to another world and they're each given classes. Well, one of them is like a healer and everybody starts freaking out and he's like, why? And this lady shows up and she finds out and she grabs him, and the whole point is like, you're able to cast healing abilities, then you can heal yourself. That means that every time you tear your muscles through exercise, you just heal yourself and keep exercising.
I was a little worried there.
Yep.
You can't know We decided to give you this to show our thanks.
Wow. People took my hospital arc statement here very far. So Quinless says that the whole point of the hospital arc trope is reaffirming, like, determination thing, like, I survived. Yeah.
Yeah. It also gives it's an easy way to have downtime without having no reason for the downtime. It's like, why aren't you going forth and fighting the villains more? Because you're in the dang hospital. It's an easy way to force downtime.
Mm-hmm. It also allows you to take, like, strong characters and show their moment of weakness, like when their armor is off.
Yeah.
Also, we could sell merchandise of some of the characters in the nurse outfit.
Yes.
Like Andy in a nurse outfit.
I'd buy an Andy in a nurse
I
outfit
got your
figurine.
supplement right here, Whacker.
Imagine Andy doing the whole.
Thank you.
I'm just imagining Andy doing the whole shtick from The Dark Knight of like walking away from the hospital, noticing the explosive didn't go off, and hitting it again and again.
To you,
Right.
but I never asked your name, did I?
Feds can't
I
prove
would
shit.
legitimately actually probably
I'm the
buy an
Divine
Andy in a
Dragon.
nurse outfit
Divine
figurine, but
Dragon?
mostly for the meme.
From the land of Lethos?
I am getting messages. Hold on, I'm getting messages from Crispy.
There was a lot going on at the time.
Yes,
Rale.
he noticed what I posted in WBPL 76 Studio.
Rail.
Journey to defeat the Fell Dragon and bring peace to the
Crispy asked if I have strangled you yet. I said no.
If it's all right,
So
that is an effort that we need to take on together.
So in our back rooms for WBPL 76 here, I posted, "It's begun." Rale just declared that the Star Wars sequel were better than the originals in front of Whacker. On stream. Live. Allo says, Rale says things for the Rees. Aiden, he fucking what? Crispy, oh my fuck, he didn't.
Yeah!
But what about the
Yeah.
Divine Dragon? You just be
Yeah. As much as I live in fear of Kiwi, you're gonna reap the whirlwind here, buddy.
Though I understand why you'd be worried.
We reap the whirlwind.
Permission, then
You,
only ask
yeah.
that you take good care of my boy.
Yeah, man.
You're actually allowing him to go.
Father,
Yeah.
I told you, you don't need to worry about me. It's not like I'm never coming home.
Degenerate.
In fact,
Laughing.
when I do return,
It's
I'll
so
be a
funny.
You know what
very
trope
good
I
dog.
also
You'll
hate?
see.
How quickly they grow up.
Yes,
trope where the
Colgate
father,
person
like,
is an extra is a
Be a
dragon
good boy,
person.
a hard worker,
Yay.
and an attentive
I
student.
hate the trope where the
And
father like
come home
merges his daughter and his dog
I
together
will.
into one foul,
Thank you,
homunculus
both of you.
beast that's
I
constantly
can't
in
wait to
pain.
start working alongside the
That's
Divine
not a
Dragon.
trope.
The feeling is mutual.
It's only happened once that I know
Oh,
of.
so you enjoy that shit? Okay, we understand now.
So behold, we have recruited a child to the war effort.
Merge him with the
mean-
dog.
Rail.
I do be Ingress now.
I like to wear big black helmet. I pilot the hatred copter.
Thank you.
So funnily enough,
Oh,
the
there's a-
child is actually one of the best units because he's the unit in this game that gets the the passive ability that makes him get better stat boosts than everyone else.
Is he absolute in this regard, Rail?
No, he's rather wayfish.
Rail. Rail.
No, we do not praise the absolute in this household.
Do you get it? Rail.
Put him up front. Some of the soldiers were second guess their shots.
Aiden's not wrong, but the reason for that is because it's like the whole tapping into their potential trope.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tap your potential.
Well, and you have to remember these
Try to
stories
make it a
are
good time.
probably more likely written for teenagers than for adults. When you're playing them as adults, it raises more questions.
Yeah, that is the thing of people have to remember, like especially with like manga. Most manga and anime that people are initially shown is what's called shonen, which is
For 14 to 18-year-old boys.
yeah,
young
14
boy.
to 18-year-old boys.
Or 13 to 18, whatever. Middle school to high school.
Shonen and Shinen.
And it's a lot easier to put for kids to put themselves in place of other kids.
Yeah. Now,
Pardon me.
You're 12 now,
so you gotta
If I
take this
may.
dangerously mutated, horrible flesh beast and go fight other flesh beasts, and leave me alone with the good doctor while you're away.
Yep. So,
Hello,
oh my.
doctor.
So Four Dancing Lights brings up child soldiers. Gundam's been doing that for years. Now, Gundam is a little bit of an odd exception because it actually goes out of its way to point out it's fucked up that there are kids fighting.
Yeah, it's actually an entire
Behold how
plot
fucked
point.
up it is.
The only reason those kids are even fighting, specifically Seed, the only reason the kids are fighting is because most of the crew died in the initial attack and they don't have anybody else. No one else can actually physically pilot the Gundam that Kira is piloting because it did not have an actual control operating system before he manually is programming one as he goes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was still in production.
A small point to bring us back to Crispy has asked me to just tell you, Rale, that you are objectively wrong.
Yes.
And I endorse this statement.
Here's the thing. The Star Wars movies are entertainment. They're movies. Their job is to entertain. I am more entertained by the prequels than the original trilogy, which means objectively, that means I'm right.
Nope.
By the definition of what it's for, because entertainment and enjoyment is entirely subjective. That means when it comes to am I entertained by this, because that opinion is entirely subjective, for my opinion, I'm objectively right.
So I feel like
I'm arguing some weird.
We're going to strangle you, just so you know.
Like villain
okay. See, there's the thing. Crispy thought you meant the sequel. No, the prequels I think are better than the original trilogy because I enjoy them more personally. This is again. For people who are getting up in arms about this, this is entirely my own opinion, and I do not think
replete and unforgiving.
The original trilogy more is invalid. I just personally prefer the prequels.
My hair is a bird. Your opinion is invalid.
Did we not establish earlier that Rale has low
right?
if any at all?
Rale's low. No, we're not. I love you, Rale. So I made a comment earlier to Confessions, who was bringing up Iron-Blooded Orphans, and I'm like, Iron-Blooded Orphans is just Japanese Peaky Blinders. And then I stopped and thought about it for a minute. I'm like, you know, it doesn't just cover the child soldiers, but the fact that those child soldiers carry out revenge killings. Yeah, it is Peaky Blinders.
What's Peaky Blinders?
It's
about street gangs in London in like the late 1800s.
No,
I mean,
it's right after World War One. It's right after World War One.
Yeah.
Real quick, for Dancing Lights, yes, I am very excited for Gundam Breaker 4.
Yeah. I still have to actually watch it, I should clarify that. It's just my understanding of the show is that it, for some reason, involves a lot of showing children doing violence.
Yeah. It's literal child soldiers who are treated as trash, because they're all orphans and shit, and are just thrown as bodies at problems.
Well, I was talking about Peaky Blinders, but yes, Iron-Blooded Orphans. Comparable, because it's about human child slave soldiers.
Yay, we finally have pets. Now we have a dog and a chicken.
This thing, it's horrible, right? You wouldn't want this horrible thing to happen, right? Remember.
Yep. Jar Jar Binks is
Simba.
He does. Yeah.
I mean, so a lot of it is a lot of Gundam continuing the trope of child soldiers is just continuing its tropes. Like there's always a Char clone and stuff like that.
Yeah, the man in the iron mask.
You have to realize that the original Gundam series was made by people. If I'm correct, Tomino lived through World War II.
Oh yeah, a lot of early anime, like Mecha itself, was sort of a cultural response to the industrialization of warfare for a country whose fairy tales had been founded in war being a good thing, but whose recent history had shown war being a very bad thing.
And so it comes from a place of, this is written by people who either were children or literally watched children go to war. Because when you start losing a war and you start losing people, you have to recruit. And eventually you're going to have to recruit from your 16, 15-year-olds and such. Because you do not have anybody else who can pick up a gun.
Have you guys seen the movie Fury?
Oh, yeah.
There's a really good scene in it where an old man comes out, holding a white flag, and he says, "The soldiers wish to surrender." And the American troops are like, "Okay, tell them to come out, hands on their head, no funny business."
Oh, the Bürgermeister is das der Mann, wer hat die Kinder gehängt?
Yeah, and you see basically like around 100 12 to 14-year-olds being led out of the building with their hands on their heads, and the American soldiers are just like, "What the fuck?"
Well, yeah, and to make it even more like cursed but accurate, so Brad Pitt's character absolutely fucking hates Nazis. Who doesn't? But he has the on the way to the village, they see a bunch of people who are hanged along the way with signs, and and quite a few of these are very young kids. And one of the placards was like, my mother wouldn't let me fight for the country or something like that. And when they get to the city and they get to that scene that Storm was talking about, one of the guys who comes out is an SS officer, and Brad Pitt asks the Burgermeister, "Ist das der Mann verhabt die Kinder gehängt?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "Is that the guy who had the kids hanged?" And then he literally says, "Hey, shoot that SS cocksucker, the one with the busted wing." And they shoot him right then and there.
Yeah. And it's a really good movie, but it's a really hard movie. But let's veer back towards Gundam, because I realize I keep going to movies about World War II.
Well, it's kind of what we know.
I mean, to be fair, related concept.
To be fair.
I loved Mecha growing up, and I liked watching Gundam. But as I started going to a kid, it's like that meme where it's like the top one is like the kid's like, "Oh boy, giant robots fighting, how much fun!" And then underneath it's like the older person. It just shows like the stream of war crimes and death and really horrible and questionable things happening. It's like, I don't want to watch mecha anime anymore.
I mean, so Gundam in particular exists for two reasons. One, because Tominotes wanted to tell a war is hell story.
Or Dancing Lights, but
because Bandai wanted to sell plastic models of giant robots.
Yeah. Or Dancing Lights puts it well here. Gundams are the shiny that gets you to look at the series. The grunt suits tend to be the favorites of longtime fans.
I do love a good
story.
grunt suit.
I'll be your opponent.
Yeah. Especially when it's been customized. Like I like the when we were like online AOL role playing Gundam Wing. Like I actually wanted to pilot a Leo.
Right, somebody asked earlier if we had played one of the Gundam games, and I'm trying to scroll back to that because
it was SD Wars, which unfortunately no, I have not played.
Oh wait, the MS Team is a really good Gundam. Basically, imagine
is Gundam Nom, except for like the last two episodes where things get bad. Skip the last two episodes.
You know what? I'll put this out there real quick. A good mecha anime, in my opinion, that really isn't too much horror of wars, is Ars Magica, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also fantasy, so I don't know if it counts. But it's mostly mecha.
Yeah.
No holding back.
Etier here.
So I struggle.
The Goof Custom versus the Easy is one of the best fight scenes, period.
What were you saying, Whack Daddy?
Okay, here's my hot take.
I really thought I had you.
And it's a legit hot take. I really don't like the Gundam series. I don't like... Yeah, it's just like my opinion, man. But I don't like series where things get too far out of sync with, we'll call it physics. Okay, we'll call it reality.
That would depend on the Gundam, but yes, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Well, just the rapid, like, flying around, jumping around, where it's extremely agile, almost human.
Oh,
it triggers part of my lizard brain that's like, okay, no, in our universe, this would not work.
It doesn't quite hit your stompy robot nerve correctly.
Yeah, BattleTech does because it does. It's plausible. Star Trek works because it's plausible. The exception to this that I cannot explain is I love Star Wars.
So here's the thing with that. Part of its limitations of animation, especially with older Gundam series, mechanically, Gundams actually have a lot of AMBAC systems that allow them to move like that. They have basically thrusters everywhere. Most of the actual fast stuff takes place in space. That's the reason that they're able to move like that. Usually, when Gundam gets on planet, it does actually slow down. It does obviously depend on the Gundam series, but usually they slow it down once they hit atmosphere. Like, one of my favorite Gundams, the Strike Freedom, can't use its stupid amounts of drones to beam spam in atmosphere because the drones can't fly in atmosphere. They don't have the thrust for it.
Now, Confessions makes an interesting point about Star Wars is as plausible as Star Trek or BattleTech, and I actually agree with that, because Star Wars isn't proposing to be science fiction. It's fantasy. It's a Western, and it's the story of, like, a cowboy and knight.
If you look at it that way, sure.
I mean, technically, isn't it called,
First time chat, Jukake? Or Jukake, or... I think I spelled that right. Whatever.
Space opera. Lads.
Isn't it technically space opera?
In as much as space opera has proper definition, yes.
Well, I mean, space opera
is a broad genre.
Well, when I think space, between sci-fi and space opera, sci-fi, in my opinion, is a little bit more grounded in reality. Space opera is like space, but with like Hawkmen, like Flash Gordon, or it's like it's got tints of fantasy in it.
I think you could argue.
I agree with Andy on this take.
Sci-fi is more driven by the tech. Space opera is more driven by the
just a little farther north, and we'll be at the
shrine. So that is a good way to put it. I read up on the definitions of this some time ago, and
mountains up there.
Sci-fi, it's less that sci-fi is about reality and more that it's about possibility.
Makes this a good place to hide an emblem ring, I suppose.
That possibility being close to our reality, because that way we relate to it. Space opera derives its name from soap opera and refer to, the old, like, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers kind of stuff. In the modern parlance, however, it's taken on more, like, using space as the scope for something more grandiose. So Star Wars, Warhammer 40k... even Mass Effect and Halo, which are more science fiction in the sense of, like, they try to bind closer to reality. But they're space opera because they're not really focused on the science. They're focused on, human drama and, the escalating scales of war and so forth. So there's, like, original space opera and modern space opera.
I always took space opera to be more of a statement on the storytelling. It's like a grand, long, intricate story that is being told, like in the style of
and I would say that's modern space opera, like post-Star Wars space opera.
So I do not want to interrupt you guys, but this character is just too fun, and I need to point it out.
I lost something earlier, and there was no.
Oh yeah, you're playing a game.
I skipped over the niceties. You can call me Yunaka. Hiya, papaya.
My screen on you is lagging behind. I don't know why. It's like it still shows me like you're on the map.
Anyway, what did you lose, Yunaka?
Reload the stream, Andy.
That's true. Oh my.
And yes, agreeing with Crispy here, Dune is a good example where something is both sci-fi and space opera.
Well, maybe I had a bad. I don't know. It's just that every time I think of space opera, I see elements of fantasy. It's probably like sci-fi fantasy, basically.
It can be fantasy. It's not exclusively fantasy, and it can be sci-fi. It's not exclusively sci-fi.
I just remembered now. So this is the logic of why I can love.
Yes, I am.
So I'm just going to use the two traditional ones that I grew up with, Star Trek and Star Wars. Okay?
Alfred, the Prince of Fear.
To me, they have strong, deep meaning because, to me, Star Trek it represents hope. It represents what can be because it's in a lot of ways it's plausible.
How did you find the ring?
Like warp is theoretically plausible. Like as we improve our understandings of physics and whatnot.
I'm by your foot.
Star Wars will never be real because of just how things work, and it's just not how reality works. But Star Wars represents our ability to dream and our ability to create and imagine things that are beyond our and outside of our reality and our understanding. So they both represent our abilities to hope and dream.
And this brings me back to something Kuzura said once, which is, at some point we as a species decided it was efficient to call animals that look like this a fish, even though a flounder is not a carp. So in the same way, it's efficient to call something sci-fi or space opera.
That means someone took it from the shrine.
Like all human psychology, art is something that's going to flower outward in a million directions.
I have an interesting question.
That's great.
Wait, I think we have a plot. Can someone...
happy if you're the one who finds her.
Oh,
Let's
God.
start by
Someone
retracing your
first, please,
steps.
and thank you.
Yeah, Whacker, can you get that?
Kill it dead.
No sign of the ring so far.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Okay.
I don't remember what the
before we did.
kill the bot command is.
I didn't kill it with fire.
No sense.
You're sure you didn't
No
lose it
This
because
is
the
a-
bandits attacked?
This is a Synth 3 podcast, please.
Over there.
Despite Whacker's
What is it?
feelings.
It looks like the
You're
town's
such
overrun
a
with
fucking
bandits.
anti-synth, Abel.
Shut up, Whacker.
How can you tell?
You shut up.
You've got, I know you've got that chip in your brain, you know, just like that mission. I'm waiting.
What? You're talking about that metal plate that's in my head that whenever somebody
I'm
uses the
waiting for the
microwave
real
causes
you
me
to
to shit
show up.
myself?
I'm waiting for your real, you know,
No doubt about
you
it.
clone.
Whenever you're near a
My
magnet, you
final
start singing
form?
country music.
What?
But the question I was going to be is, okay, so
Right there. You see
you're in
it?
a library, you work in a library,
A burly
you
guy
have
with something glinting in his
a
Quick,
book
summon
of,
mittens.
That's gotta be
you
our
have the
missing
book
ring.
on
What do you think,
Flash
Devon?
Gordon.
Is it an emblem ring?
Do you put it in the sci-fi or the fantasy
He's too far.
row?
I really can't say. You must have great
book on
eyesight,
what?
Tanaka.
Is
Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
sci-fi
I have the
or
killer's eyes.
What was that?
Oh, fuck.
Strictly, I would say it's fantasy.
Early sci-fi. So there's a reason that early sci-fi was lumped in with
Anyway, what's
fantasy.
the plan now? We've got two
So-
problems
Well-
we're solving.
There's still a difference between Flash
Stolen
Gordon and
Town full of
Jules
bandits.
Verne. Jules Verne is still sci-fi, it's just sci-fi from a more unsophisticated era.
I feel like I'm gonna side with Storm on this one, and I would put it in fantasy. That's a hard call.
Now,
You're with me.
this is just me explaining my personal objectiveness. I'm not saying I am correct. This is just how my neural paths are firing off. It's fantasy until there are sci-fi elements in it. Then it goes into sci-fi.
Oh yeah, and that's where
Unless it's almost overwhelmingly fantasy with
guy with the ring.
I feel like so
Smart
it's
thinking,
definitely
Tanaka.
got elements of both. But as I was kind of quickly mentally reviewing the movie, because I haven't read the books or anything else, I remember the movie. It's more fantasy than it is sci-fi in my.
So Quinlist has a good answer here. If you're the librarian, you put it in sci-fi. If you're a reader and have opinions, you follow your opinions and get the librarians angry at you for misplacing a book.
Well, I would also put Flash Gordon in sci-fi because it has space travel.
Mhm.
Like rocket ships and shit, and like laser pistols.
Rocket Man.
Let's see. As far as fantasy,
There is a game off. Okay. I'm not much of a book reader. I will admit this. I know this makes me sound like less of a human being, but I actually find it painful to read books sometimes. Like, I'd rather read a comic or something like that.
Yeah.
However, I have been made aware of a book series that I am actually quite interested in reading, despite this. And I got this from a video game that's in the works. It's called The Invincible.
intrigued.
I think
I'm invincible. As
it's
Boris.
because it comes from that Atom Punk era.
Like Ray Gun Gothic and such.
Yeah, like I'm starting to think like there's a certain era where I'm like, ooh, I'd like to read this, you know. Like I read a few Jules Verne's books. I think like one. Or
Yeah.
did I? I don't know.
Real quick, this needs called out. Mr. Jiggle, I also very much enjoy the Aragon books. So it's not a trilogy. I thought it was 4 books. Yeah, it's 4 books.
Yeah, it's quartet. I will say the Aragon books, from what I can tell, because I didn't read past I don't think I read past the first one. And I'll say, it was in fact enjoyable, to its credit. It was also literally Star Wars detail for detail, and I'm not just talking the hero's journey. But from what I hear, he actually evolved into a fully original author by the time of the 3rd book.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And a lot. So actually, there's a fun one for that.
It's also because he was published at like 16, if I recall correctly.
Until you get your hands on a torch at least. Then you'll see as well as I can.
The series that popularized fantasy novels to the point where fantasy novels actually became a business that publishers would pursue was originally, the first novel is actually pretty much just a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. It's called The Sword of Shannara.
Yep.
And if that series didn't exist, someone might have done it later, but they were the ones they were the first commercially successful fantasy novel. And it was, the first one was a ripoff of Lord of the Rings. And eventually the series very much became its own thing.
The boss doesn't need to know about it.
Also, yes, we do not talk about the Aragon movie.
Oh dear.
The Aragon movie is one of those movies we know. It's like the Avatar movie.
That's the voice from before.
Like the Avatar.
I've never seen it, but I've just everybody I've ever heard
Will you help me
basically says the same thing, that this is
That's why we're here.
Star Wars with a fantasy paint coat.
no, it's just a horrible movie, is what they say.
Oh, the movie is So the movie had one redeeming grace, and that was Jeremy Irons.
So here's my question. Is the reason that everybody hates it because it's a bad movie, or is it because it doesn't follow the established lore?
It's because it's a mediocre movie following a well-intended but still very juvenilely written book.
Where did you come from?
Does it actually follow the book story, though?
Are you talking about Aragon? Because not really. It follows the overall story bits, but it cuts out a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it cut out Angela, who is like the best character.
Treasure.
So
they make some very poor decisions. So Angela did dirty similar to Tom Bombadil, but Angela is actually ongoingly plot relevant where Tom Bombadil isn't.
We got the ring. Heal us, Emblem of Dawn.
I have gotten into a few arguments with folks who didn't like that Tom Bombadil was cut from the Lord of the Rings movies, and I just don't think he was.
He was not necessary. Like, I understand, I wish he were in them, but he was not necessary, so I'm not going to be super broken up about it.
I sense the future shifting.
I was going to use the term relevant.
So it is the Ring of the Dawn Maiden.
I didn't like the books.
Yunaka, I entrust this ring to you. Me? But
I can hear the pitchforks now, but I
ask is that in
didn't
return,
really
you help
like
us defeat
reading
these bandits.
books.
Will you join with
Tolkien's
Emblem
books.
Makaya?
It's not a style that I like to read.
Okay, I won't let you down.
But a comparable situation is the Golden Compass movie, not the miniseries. The miniseries actually did a good job.
Let me show you how to
The
use
Golden
staves.
Compass movie screws up a lot of the Golden Compass, and God, I love the Golden Compass movie. It's so good. It's not the movie, the series, the books. The books are extremely good. But the only reason that the Golden Compass movie gets a pass and gets to be treated as existing is because what's the word I'm looking for? The bear fight. The bear fight, because they actually show one of the bears getting its lower jaw ripped off. And it's so brutal and so awesome.
What movie is this?
Golden Compass.
That helps.
Is this?
I do not have the time to explain the Golden Compass to you, Whacker. I would love to. Seriously, read the books. They're really good.
It is one of those, like, it's like one of those, like, actually it's a heavy genre. I don't know. I think there's a lot of books about it. A lot of people don't know mostly about it. Or the mass majority. It's like unsung hero or unsung epics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
let us be off.
I was going to actually say I wanted to open up another silo or abandoned World War II silo of worms, and like I was going to ask, like,
looked right at me.
We definitely wouldn't want, a big business to make the movie or movies of it, but I'm kind of interested in learning about let me see, Elric of Melonbone.
Melnibone.
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 I'm not gonna try it anymore. I can't.
What are y'all talking about?
So, the Chronicles of the White Wolf, or Elric of Melnibone, it's part of the Eternal Champion cycle by Michael Moorcock. It is the... Sorry, this is like something I delved into super hard. It is the origin of the swordsman with white hair trope that is everywhere in fantasy. It's the thing that, like, The Witcher is based off of, the anime Bastard was based off of it, and so many other animes would end up, like, pulling on that trope.
Looks like our
It follows the story of a swordsman who has a magic sword that he is addicted to. It kills people and drains their life essence out. And so he tries to be a hero, like, tries to be a good person and help people because he's compassionate, but he is an addict and kills innocent people because of it. It's also where the whole concept of law and chaos as presented in D&D comes from, and planar travel, because he is a world hopper.
So, Storm Song.
Yes.
Let's say me and you were hanging out at a bookstore, and I saw cover art of an Elric book, and I said, "Oh, hey, look, it's Drix."
Yeah.
How much would that hurt you?
It wouldn't hurt me too hard. Like, I grew up, reading the Drizzt books, and would learn later that Elric, or Drizzt, was based on Elric.
I pretty much got... I get that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if I was from the era to be, an original Elric reader, then that might hurt me a little bit.
I wouldn't do it purposely. I just that's something stupid. I was, hey, look, it's a Drix book. It's like, no.
Yeah. Now that said, there are a lot of people that'll really go on about how, like, oh, this ripped off Elric and that ripped off Elric, and this is true. A lot of things really did rip off Michael Moorcock's work. Do bear in mind that the Elric of Melnibone books are fucking miserable. It is a very nihilistic slog. They're well written, but prepare for something that's about as depressing as Berserk without the outlandish violence.
So, there's two other series I want to call out now that I'm thinking about the Golden Compass. One was actually somewhat mentioned earlier, the Black Cauldron. I don't remember the name of the series as a whole, but the Black Cauldron novels are really good. The Prydain Cycle, that's what it is. The Prydain Cycle is really good.
Yeah.
Terran Wanderer is one of my favorite books from that. The other one, and everyone should know of this, because if you like reading fantasy, you should know who the hell Ursula Le Guin is. Read the Earthsea books, for the love of God.
Yeah, that's she's kind of up there with, like, Tolkien as far as, like, considered sort of one of the forefathers of modern fantasy.
I would like to see all of this stuff. Like, I would like to see passionate creators on, like, YouTube just make series.
There was a sci-fi original series for Earthsea, and
oh yeah, I remember that. That's
for the Divine Dragon.
There's actually a Ghibli movie for Earthsea that people have opinions on. I don't hate the Ghibli Earthsea movie. It could be a lot better, but I know how Ghibli does their stuff with adapting works, so I was less offended by it than people who were expecting, like, a one-to-one adaptation from Ghibli.
Another thing there is, I think what Andy was getting at is something more like Quinn's Ideas or Tex Talks Battletech, where Tex goes into the deep lore, or Quinn, who, knows that there are some people that get interested in sci-fi, but some of the really advanced sci-fi goes above their heads, so he lays it out in a more, like, understandable format.
No, what I mean is, like, somebody basically just makes, this the movie, or basically just makes their own, like, movie of it, not necessarily like a Text Talks or a explaining what's happened, but, like,
Oh, so you mean like the Star Wars fan films, almost?
Yeah, just I want to see fan films, more stuff of this, and I think it's coming.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like, the reason I know about, I mean, I know about, it's not that I've known about, but I've seen Elric and stuff like that. I just haven't kind of, like, dipped into it. But I've been seeing some animations of it, and I'm like,
I won't forget
people are passionate about this. I might want to look into it. I'll share you one when I get the cat off the keyboard.
Another author that actually, another 2 authors for me to recommend. Anne McCaffrey, Dragon Riders of Pern is amazing, and anybody who says otherwise doesn't have taste. Yes, I know that's real rich coming from me, but people who know people who know the series are going to immediately agree with me.
All right, I do actually need to bow out at this point, so I am going to duck out and Rale.
Kind of.
Yeah.
You're going to reap the whirlwind, son.
There will be consequences.
There will be consequences. This is going to be bad. It's going to be real bad, man. All right, you guys have fun, and again, I have family in town this weekend, so I'm not going to be around much at all. So if I don't talk to you guys, have fun. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Why are you here?
Yeah.
Because hot takes and watching people yell at Rale for his opinions.
Yeah, man. All right. So, later on, guys.
Take care.
Have a good night, Whack. And Rale, I will be. How much longer are you going to stream today, Rale? You're doing a full 4 hour?
It's a 3 hour, so we're about halfway through.
Okay, so I am, like I said to you earlier, going to drop out in about 20 minutes here, and then I'll be back in about 30 minutes later.
Yep, that's fine.
So I'll be in for the last half hour, it looks like. I has a job interview.
Oh. Hope it goes well.
Yeah, sadly, the teaching opportunities are a bit dried up at the moment due to mix of economy and the truth that college teaching is a very competitive sport, we shall say.
Mm-hmm. Academics is some shit.
And so, like, I need work now because while running the studio is still going well unto itself, it doesn't really give me much of a meaningful income. So I'm looking into working with a live sound company here for a while.
Storm, you need to quit all this. You need to go into merchandising, man. We need Storm Song plushies, Storm Song cutlery.
I would 100% buy a Storm Song plushie.
Need Storm Song Pez dispensers, Storm Song pacifiers, Storm Song diapers. We need Storm Song humidifiers.
Okay, so the other author I wanted to mention before Whacker had to go was Garth Nix. The Keys to the Kingdom series is really good.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. Also, Shade's Children is a standalone novel.
What do you think of the Wheel of Time series?
I have not read the Wheel of Time series. I've wanted to because I know it plays with tropes, but it's sort of like one of those. Maybe? It's like getting into One Piece. It's going to be a trip, and I've got so many other series I still need to finish.
If you can get the audiobooks, I would say it's worth it. The first few books are really good. The following books, from what I understand, are pretty decent, but it's long. It's 15 books.
Yeah, I'm aware it's long.
And do expect a tonal shift in like the last 2 or 3 because Jordan died and had his friends take over.
So.
Yeah.
You know, Rale, don't get yourself too strung out. I bet Whacker likes Dinotopia or something like that.
Andy, I am never actually going to be offended over people getting bothered by my opinions on media. So here's the thing. I understand nuance, and I like nuance in things. But I also like eat popcorn, big explosion media, too. I'm big on just enjoy what you enjoy. Have a good time with it.
Another kill for me.
It's why, my favorite movies include a lot of things like The Prestige, but it also includes Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah. Like, I like everything from, Legend of the Galactic Heroes, the final boss of all space operas, all the way to Moron High School Host Club.
Pause. Night Owl points out Storm Song the Flamethrower. If we're going to do some advertising and shit.
Like, ooh, wait, no. I've got it. You remember the unicorn gun from Saints Row?
I've only seen clips of Saints Row. I've never actually played it.
So I'm pretty sure it was Saints Row. It's a unicorn that you put on your shoulder, and it fires rainbows out of its butt. That might not be Saints Row. It might be something else.
Yeah, well, since Storm Song, like the character, which functions as my avatar, I always imagine as a, heavy metal rock singing pony. I imagine a unicorn with just way too much lightning flying everywhere.
Mr. Toots from Red Faction Armageddon. That's what it was.
I want
Mr.
a plushie
Toots, but with Storm Song.
I want a plushie of my character with a pull string, and every time you pull it, it just screams something randomly.
Also, Night Owl, I know you were referencing Spaceballs. I just like the image of Storm Song the Flamethrower.
Red Star!
And Night Owl, I'm aware I was wrong, but you can't tell me it doesn't sound like something Saints Row would do.
You can't fault him on that one. On a lot of other things, like his opinions on... yeah. Let's see.
Oh, so Storm, you know how 40K likes to borrow stuff?
Oh, yes. Yes, it does.
I would look up the Primarch Fulgrim.
Oh, yeah, he's Elric of Melniboné.
I mean, I wonder if that's where the kind of the trope of the cursed sword comes from. Like,
it's older than that, but I mean, it's where it entered modern fantasy parlance, like in the same way that Solomon Kane is why we imagine witch hunters wearing, Puritan pilgrim hats.
So there's actually a category of tropes that's older than television.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and a lot of times we think of the first version of a thing as the most recent one that inspired it into our culture.
Yeah. I think example is the term for it. Oh no, trope codifier. Trope codifier is a term. Example is the ones before the trope was really codified, and then trope codifier is this is the one that made it set as an actual trope. It's the baseline against which all other examples are kind of compared to understand what they do with it.
Isekai'd into a fantasy world with a .45 is an anime I didn't know I needed now. Yes, Mr. Diggle.
I mean, it works, because even if you go to a fantasy world with magic and stuff, 45 kills the soul.
Yes. So, I mean... It's part of literary analysis. What's Up was asking what the study of tropes is called.
Yes, very much.
Yeah, I guess you could say it's part of memetics, because tropes are memes as played out in stories.
Yeah. It depends. I'd argue it depends on the trope, because tropes' definition is like, basically...
It's very broad. Yeah. Because a trope could be anything from... like, a lot of times... One thing that makes tropes kind of interesting is that you have no idea why everything does that, and sometimes it only does it subconsciously. Like, why do so many things involve something that can be pretty reasonably interpreted as descending into the underworld? A lot of times unintentionally.
Yeah, sometimes
versus...
it's because it triggers the human condition, and it's just more...
Exactly.
Reactive. Sometimes it's because everyone was a big fan of this one thing, like the fucking robot pose with the crossed arms. That goes back to one specific anime that I don't remember the name of, and all the mecha designers love that pose, so all of them fucking do it. Or oh, the Akira, the bike slide in Akira. That's another big one.
Which you see in, like, Final Fantasy VII and so many other things.
You see that in Western media, even. It's that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah. I think it's in the Blade movies, if I remember correctly.
So, I just thought of a card game.
Yep.
It basically just... So, it's not really well thought of, but the cards are... Each card is basically a story trope. And, like, on the deck, you pull 5, and then, like, people take turns, like... putting down a story trope.
The Diggs has entered the chat.
Ooh, wait, so like a card game like Mad Libs, but with cards for tropes, and you have to like write a little bit, write like a little paragraph short story that includes all the tropes you drew.
Well, no, it's like each card that you have in your hand has the trope written on it. Just simply that, and like you figure out where your round robin turns is going to be, and like. Storm would put like the one card in his hand down, and then the next person would pick one from his hand down, and it would go around until, I don't know, you have like 5 or 10 or a bunch of cards on the deck in the center, and at the end you kind of you in the turn order that they were placed, you basically read the tropes out and basically joke about what kind of story it would make.
Thank you.
I don't think there'd really be a winner or a loser. It'd just be an interesting creative process that you can laugh at.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to jump out, like I said, so I'll be back in about 45 minutes. Y'all have a good one. Andy, if you could mind the chat for me.
Don't leave me alone with the rooster.
Cluck, 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 yeah. Cluck, 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 yeah.
What's the matter, Rale? Do I bug you?
No, Andy, despite being a chicken, I'm fairly unflappable.
Quite cocky, aren't you? God, my... Hi, I'm Himbo Beryllium, and I'm the main character of this story. What a weird last name to have for a character, Beryllium.
What if you had an RPG, like a tabletop RPG, where you have the trope cards, and like that's your character's power, where they can activate that trope and it forces the narrative? So like if your trope is big damn heroes and you're in trouble, you can play that, and someone will come bursting through the wall Kool-Aid Man style to save you.
Wait a minute, this is just Deus Ex Machina! I mean, that's you know what, that would probably be the name of the game.
Yeah, you probably have to make like the more powerful ones to have like a longer cooldown or something like that. You can only use, like Deus Ex Machina, you can only use once a month, but oh boy, does it get used.
Or maybe they have like a cost to play, like if you play this card, you won't be able to play your other cards, you'll be using all your Machina points for this one card.
Yeah. Or you could have it like there's always a negative side effect later, like there's a tied negative trope to every positive trope.
Are you sure you want to use all 4 of your Machina points to turn this goblin into a sympathetic villain?
Oh god.
You don't understand! All my little goblin children are hungry!
So wait. Let me get this straight. Yeah? You're going to play the surprise I'm the actual big bad. Yeah? On the horse. Yeah. God damn it, Ryan. Why? You do this all It was the horse all along.
So someone brought up having Oppenheimer get transported, getting isekai'd, right? Credit where credit is due. Let me find that.
I cast Fireball.
Mr. Jiggles gets credit for that one idea. So here's the thing. There's a novel series that doesn't really do that exactly, but does something similar. It is by Ellie Modisett Jr., my favorite author. It is the Soprano Sorceress series. And what it is it's about a lady who's a like classically trained opera singer and musician. She can play like 6 instruments. Who gets isekai'd into a world where music is magical. Like, straight up music creates magic.
Here until the end.
And one of the things that eventually happens is they figure out how you need to do tone and everything to create a magical nuke by singing.
A little... Rale.
Yes.
You know how, like, I easily get confused and I get like the wrong impression.
Yeah.
So when you said an isekai around the Soprano, I imagine like a really dangerous mob boss being like reincarnated as somebody who learns how to be a wizard. Like an Italian mob boss that just like, you know, hey, I know how to cast Fireball, Magic Missile. How about that, eh? Listen, you shorted me on these spell components. I'm going to have to break your legs, you know? What's the matter with you? Do I have to cast Comprehend Languages on you? Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Oh god, people talking about the bullets, like casting gun, and now I can think, Master has gifted Dobby a Glock!
I saw a meme recently where it was two pictures, and the first picture was writers introducing guns into fantasy, and it just shows a room full of people like fighting and killing each other. And then the next people was writers introducing swords into sci-fi, and it was just a circle of like you know, a parliamentary circle of gentlemen in suits.
Solid meme template.
Why don't I like guns in fantasy personally? I think one reason is if you have a gun, why need anything else? Almost, it's like the gun will almost just like negate almost everything else because it would be so powerful. Like you don't need swords, you almost don't need magic. You know,
when you have the option to just pull a gun, you can take away a lot of the drama. It's much harder to write dramatic and personal scenes for someone using a gun. For a number of reasons, distance, speed, all like it's a lot faster to just shoot someone than it is to sword fight them.
I mean, is that a fuck it? It's an old movie. I mean, as much as I would hate it, I have a love-hate relationship, like, and not like 50-50, more like
You've been a huge help, Yunaka.
98-2, 98% 2% love-hate relationship with the ending of Wizards.
Really?
Okay, I love the ending of Wizards.
I do too.
Oh yeah, now Crispy, you can have drama with a gun. It just, I'm not saying you can't. It more limits your options.
What's the matter?
If that makes sense of what I'm trying to get across.
The closest thing to me, in a weird way, that's like acceptable fantasy with guns is like westerns. And I know it's not fantasy, but it's...
I mean, westerns are actually fantasy, but that's a whole other debate.
Yeah, you know, my chimp brain, when I think fantasy, I think knights and dragons and shit like that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I see. When I learned that you two were royalty, I panicked and kinda, well...
I do like how that one person
sounds
said...
like some
really,
shooting
I'm no
club.
different from those bandits. I'll accept
I mean, there
whatever
probably
punishment
is.
you give me.
Hold on. You were planning to sell the ring?
Yeah.
People call when people think cowboys, they think of like the rough and tumble bandit, like I'm gonna come in and cash you. But no, I'm pretty sure the cowboy was just a rancher.
But instead,
most of the time when people refer to cowboys, they're more referring to the outlaw trope.
When she started talking to me, I got
Not
this
like
feeling
what
that I just
actual cowboy.
Or bounty hunter.
I felt like
Gruff McGrilly Gruffy on horse with gun, who's gruffly gruff.
Yeah.
Fighting by her side,
Grumble.
I saw a bright path ahead. When I
Oh wait, is it blasphemy to start
I
a
called
grumble
out in the
without ducks
dark.
here?
It was she who answered. I am to
Summon
blame
ducks and
for
tell them to start a
entangling her
grumble.
in all this. Yunaka has done nothing wrong.
I hear you, but she did lie to us. As Prince, I'm not supposed to let that
Maybe
go
genre
without some
is
sort of
like
punishment.
art. You
Lay
can't
on me.
explain it, but you know
I
it
can
when you
handle
see it.
How about joining our forces?
Say what now?
We're on a journey to collect the emblem rings and defeat the Fell Dragon. I know it's a lot to ask, but will you pledge yourself to our
Hold on a
cause?
minute, my
I
cat
agree
is
with
raising
you.
hell.
A fitting punishment?
At the start of all this
I
trope
love it.
talk, it
Our army
was
is
me
pretty lean,
stating that I don't really
so
have a
any new
trope I
recruit makes a lot
dislike
of
because
sense.
of the
And
opinion
Yunaka
that
clearly has raw
tropes
talent. She could be a
quality
real
is
asset.
dependent on the quality
I
of the
won't let you
writer, not
down.
the trope itself.
Thank you. Both of you.
Like, even a Mary
Don't mention
Sue
it.
can be a good
And
writer,
Yunaka,
can be written
allow
well.
me to be the first to say.
It depends on the use of
Hiya,
the
Papaya.
trope by the writer.
Hiya, Papaya, back at
You know, that wouldn't be a hard game to
With
make
that settled,
either.
let's hurry
I mean,
onward. You've got
I'm
to
pretty
cross
sure
the
there are more
Brodian,
tropes
right?
out there that we
Yes.
can
Mother
probably
sent a letter
write
to the
down,
Brodian
but
King when we left
Oh
the
my god.
castle. He should be
Andy, have
expecting
you ever
us.
visited TV tropes?
Good.
yes,
Kingdom of Might.
Okay.
I usually did it during
I'm
anime when
curious
I
to
watched
see what
when I
it's
had my
like
big
there.
anime phase.
Yeah.
Like, I would almost ask, like, you know what? Each deck, I would say we would sell multiple decks, and each deck would like have what's a good
Thanks.
size for a deck? Like, you know, the general is like 64, maybe 100. But you would have like the top 50 tropes of certain
Thank you
genres,
so
like
much.
fantasy, western, anime, action. You know.
Yes.
And you know, if you want, you can mix the two decks together. It's like, I want to do anime and I want to do action. So okay, we could sell each deck for like $50 each, even though it would only cost us like 50 cents to print them.
Uh-huh.
So,
Don't look at me like that.
no, Quinlist brought up an anime or a series that's about magic comes from science and stuff. That reminds me of the Irregular at Magic High School, which is problematic for some things, but I enjoy its magic system heavily. In particular, the main character has the ability to convert matter to energy on a 1-to-1 ratio. Doing that on a drop of water makes a nuke. Because, yeah, the matter-energy conversion is some fuckery.
I never liked in Magic turning, like, you know, converting energy into mass or mana into mass. Actually, I like the good explanation of it from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon show. The Dungeon Master was explaining it like, you know, you're not creating anything; you're just taking it from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he pulled up a thing of water spurting out of the ground to drink, and he's like, "Yes, you know that water is coming from somewhere else."
Side note, we have another first chatter. Hello, Sothis. And I just realized your name upon reading it out loud and understand entirely why you're here. You may in fact be disappointed because we keep not talking about Fire Emblem. But welcome to WBPL 76. Lads, hit them with the all the notices that we've got. Engage exclamation point commands. I believe in you.
Actually, since we're sort of on the subject, everybody in chat, if you're interested, I saw a game on Steam, I think called Wizard Commando or something like that. So the idea is like you're like a commando unit of, like, you know, the breachers, the guys that like kick the door down and all that and go in like, yeah, go, 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 go. But they're all wizards, and like their guns have like a staff at the end of it.
Is that? Hey! You're the girl I met in Flora Milltown. Vale, wasn't it?
Hey, look, it's the obvious final boss.
What a coincidence finding you here.
I'm glad to see you again. You left so abruptly
She's your
last
sister,
time.
and she's
It
going.
really
She's
caught me
jealous,
off
and she's
guard.
going to kill
Do you
everyone.
live around here?
No, I'm just passing through. Well,
Right, Rale?
looking for someone, really.
Who are you
Andy,
looking for?
stop.
A person
Shut
I
the
must
fuck
talk
up,
to again
Andy.
no matter what. My sibling.
You
I
were
actually don't think you're
separated
100%
then.
right,
I'm
but you're
sorry.
not far off.
It's painful to be apart from one's family.
That's a
Do you
problem
have
when
any
you've
idea where to
consumed too much media. It starts
None.
like
I don't even know what
you
face
start
to
like
look
pointing
for.
shit out.
We've been apart
See,
since
that's
I
the
was
point
very
where you
young.
have to just start enjoying
give me
when
something
the
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is used well. Like, I don't care
Turn
if I
your
can
brain off.
predict something. I care if I'm
What a
still going to
pretty
have a fun
stone.
time.
It's my good
Oh,
luck
yeah.
charm.
I
know
kind
that as
of
long
I was
as I
watching a
have
movie
this,
with my aunt,
We'll
and
be
I was playing. It
reunited
was
someday.
I'm
it was
sure
Guardians
you
of the
will.
Galaxy, and I hadn't seen the movie, and I was
Don't
watching it
forget
with
to
her,
take
and
care of yourself.
the boy's
Oh,
like
can't
running out in the
wait
middle of the field, and I make the "dwaw" sound like, you know, obviously UFO picks up, and as I do that, like the beam of light comes down over him. She looks at me. She says, "Stop that! You're scaring me."
It looks pretty deep.
No,
There.
I love
That ought to hold for a while.
watching a movie and then predicting like, oh, I bet this thing is gonna happen to this person, and seeing it coming and be like, yes, 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 do it, go, yes.
I'm not a stranger. You saved my life, remember? That makes us friends as far as I'm
trying to think of. I know there was one movie where I legitimately, at the end of the movie, I was like, "What? What? No!" Like I'm trying to. It's weird. I know it happened, but I can't think of what movie made me do that.
I can't recall the last time I was treated with such kindness.
What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry.
You know,
but I have to go.
finding out that
sure?
Thank you
Vader
for the
is Luke's
bandage.
father kind of
Hope
thing.
to see you again.
Yeah, I mean,
There she
reveals
goes.
are always good.
See you around, Vale.
Well, okay, not always good. Sometimes they're stupid. Again, it really depends on how the trope is used. Also, and again, because I cannot stress this enough, if you enjoy something, who cares what other people think about it? Life's more fun when you enjoy things.
Asterisk.
Ooh.
I mean, I only care about what other people think about my opinions so I can weaponize them to cause massive havoc on stream.
That girl probably has pony stickers on her bookcase.
What, this one?
Yeah.
With the star flex in her hair?
I
That's such
think
a
it was
weird
during like the
design
early
choice.
90s. That's when that phased. I forgot what they called it. It was an artist, like a lady, I can't remember, but it was like the typical, like, you know, unicorns and stars and rainbows and stuff, stickers that you could put on your Trapper Keeper and all that. Remember Trapper Keeper, folks? I think I had a school year where they banned the Trapper Keepers.
Yeah, my school banned Pokemon cards.
There was a time where, like, they would come out with something and have a commercial where you have your Game Boy or something at school, and then it would immediately be banned from school. And you'd almost be like, I want to sue that commercial. So you
In
shouldn't
Super
bring
Civilian, we
distraction.
are playing Fire Emblem Engage, and most of today has been talking about tropes.
Okay. Usually the thing that I think in the fantasy worlds like this that have like magic and mana and stuff, the offset is that electricity doesn't work like it does in our reality.
I mean, there's an argument that if you have magic, it could make electricity work screwy.
I mean, like,
if magic is like a force that bends causality, the way electricity functions is very particular on causality being stable.
I would just mean that, like, maybe electricity, like, just doesn't conduct like it does. Maybe it doesn't travel as far. There's just something about it where it's not as useful. Like, it's hard to industrialize in this fantasy realm, whereas in ours it's like, you know, super easy.
So technology develops based off of either someone being curious about something or based off of what people need. Needs being the most active developer of technology. We make stuff because we need it. So if you have magic that screws with the way things end up moving forward because it's going to... Wow, if my brain wouldn't drop the ball, but I have to do push-ups. 1 sec.
Keep it up.
It's going to fill some of those
Kingdom.
needs. It's going to fill some of those needs with magic where technology would have done it before, and thus remove the need for moving forward with technology.
I guess what I'm saying, Crispy, and everyone else is, I guess my headcanon as to why, like,
Looking good.
You'll have like a lot of fantasy. I mean, what Rale is saying is like is a better argument, but like a reason why there's not a lot of like electrical technology stuff in fantasy is like electricity doesn't quite work like it does in ours. I don't know.
Perfect.
It's just a weird one of those weird little isms that I have and thing. But
keep it up.
What I like in fantasy genre, especially in like isekai, is
hang in there.
I like what they call
You've got this.
What is it? It's like home magic.
Great job.
Or basically
hedge magic.
Not hedge. Well, I don't know if they call it hedge magic. It's everyday use magic.
Yeah,
like
it's hedge magic.
It's like lighting a fire or summoning water or casting clean. Like not everybody knows it, but enough people know it where it's like, no, I can't summon stores or summon a fireball, but hey, I could light the.
That is literally the RPG I'm building. The magic system is nothing but hedge magic. Because if humans try to use bigger magic, they turn into monsters. And I don't mean oh, they turn into bad people. I mean like they literally transform and lose all sense of self and go on a rampage.
Like
hi there.
Like magic is useful, but it has like a radiation tick.
Yeah, it's effectively like radiation.
Jean, are you not getting enough greens at the cafe?
Oh no.
I mean that's interesting.
I'm actually picking medicinal herbs. See?
There was a manga I read where like you had a limited amount of spells you could cast, and if you cast all of it, you died.
It used to grow all over my home island.
Crispy just mentioned magical Chernobyl, but that's actually a thing in that setting. Is there's areas where magic is so dense that if you have the ability to use mana in any way, shape, or form, you will die. But there are people who have zero mana who can't process it at all, who are completely immune to the ambient effects, so they can go in there.
Can't lend a hand here. Besides, with the war and your studies,
and that's actually a function in the setting because magic is an attribute, and you can set it at 0. And if you have 0 magic, you can't cast spells or do any of the fancy anime fighting techniques. But you also don't have to worry about ambient magic, and are able to stealth much better because magic detecting things can't find you.
And that's when you find the broken blade mech and rip ass. Actually, that doesn't mean what you think it does, Andy. I like the Wizard War cartoons that have been popping up on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, the I cast testicular torsion.
I cast instant Brazilian! I saw one I loved reading the comments on. The wizard was like, I cast forgive yourself.
Oh, that one. Oh, right in the feels. Literally.
Well, you should read the comments of that one. It's like, haha, I get a natural resistance with my negativity field.
I cast manual of breathing. By the way, everyone, remember that your tongue is not sitting comfortably in your mouth. And you're now aware of the feeling of your clothes on your skin.
Rale. I cast laggy Wii remote controller.
I don't own a Wii anymore. I traded it for my Switch.
God damn it! I fucked my spell. I should have said Switch.
One out.
Somehow I won.
I should have just said I cast sticky buttons.
You can train resistance to psychic damage. All you need to do is remember the oh god dang it, I can't remember.
I'll be your opponent.
Alfred has arrived.
If I wanted to do psychic damage, I'd say I cast Remember Arthrax. Or Artax.
Oh,
You're as strong as I expected.
The litany against cringe. I must not cringe. Cringe is the meme killer.
I cast Beast!
Let's have a good match.
Today's workout begins now.
I cast Bone Spurs.
You're as strong as I expected.
I cast poor circulation in your legs. And if anyone wants to doubt that, I have that. It's a bad time. Imagine your feet always being cold.
I was going to say, you get a message right after you cast it, say a target already affected by this ability.
No, for Dancing Lights, I cast Greater Shoe Pebble. Oh, that's good.
Hi.
That guy you were fighting, Rale?
Mm-hmm.
I cast Equinophobia.
Oh, no. So we do meals. Make an onion quiche.
One of my favorite cursed items I ever thought of was the hemophobic blade.
I don't do anything by halves. How come these utensils aren't weighted?
Wait, so it like won't cut? Or?
Another win for Etienne.
It's a blade that's scared of blood. I don't really understand the mechanics. It's like
a hearty meal.
Usually I just Usually I just imagine that it's a sword that complains about it. It's like, oh my god, you probably get a debuff to attacks basically with this weapon. Unless it's against like constructs and shit.
Oh god.
If it bleeds, I reese.
I cast Reverse Nail Growth.
Daggers of Warning. Like just before you're doing a backstab attack, it says, "Hey, look out!" I cast Zero Traction. Oh god, I cast Hard Drive Corruption. That's not funny. I cast Delete Save File.
I really enjoyed our tea party today. Thanks for inviting me, Saline.
The pleasure is all mine, Divine One. Our conversation made for an excellent spice over an already fine tea.
The tea was fine, wasn't it? That floral note it had was almost unbelievably good.
I'm glad you appreciated it. The leaves were grown in Firene, you know.
I've never had hot tea that I really thought was like...
It is my utmost favorite.
I never had hot tea
prefer the
taste like the way I think or imagine it tastes when I look at people drinking hot tea in settings.
So it really depends on taste. So taste is all kinds of scary. There's all kinds of like genetic stuff. Like there are some people that certain things, I don't remember which thing it is, but there's a kind of seasoning that tastes like soap to some people and tastes like normal to other people and tastes good to other people. And it's entirely genetic. Like Fox has that gene and her dad. It tastes like soap. Yes, cilantro, thank you for Dancing Lights. Cilantro tastes like soap if you have that gene, and both Fox and her dad have it, and I don't. So I like cilantro, but they're like, no, not in my food.
Sometime, Divine One.
I also heard that I've heard that, and this is from European people, the water in America is slightly different. Like, there's a mineral difference between...
Yeah, the water is different everywhere. I filter my water and
how
then
long
run
you
it through
cook
a
it?
kettle. Yeah.
Like, whenever I cook... I guess I overcook it or something like that. I didn't know there was, like, a specific time you cook water or something like that.
It depends on the tea and the taste, but yes. Steeping time is also a thing. I'm a fan of really, really bitter teas, so I have a black Chinese tea that I drink that I massively oversteep it.
You know what I'd like to take part in? Like a Japanese tea ceremony, like not making the tea. I just like to sit there, and enjoy like the ambiance, and then like get the tea served to me and drink it and be like, oh yes, this is good.
Right, so real quick, because we've talked about tea, I really need some tea, and I also need to run to the bathroom real quick. So we're going to pause.
I cast Unhinged Bladder!
Andy, entertain the chat while I'm gone. I'll be right back.
Oh boy. Nothing beats Lipton because they were in business a long time because they'll break your knees. For Dancing Lights, all I could see was I curse you to forget your, and I thought that was the joke. I cast Mixing Pixel. Hey, how about this one, guys? Actually, I'm going to wait for Rale for this one. This is a level 9 spell, so I gotta wait till Big Man shows up to share it. Oh God, missing column of pixels. How about reverse screen, like the news scroll goes from left to right. I've been enjoying green tea for a while. Diet green tea with citrus. I don't think I've had like real green tea. I cast everyone knows your browser history. Oh God, paper cuts between your fingers. Okay, hear me out, chat. Have you? Everybody's had a paper cut. I'm pretty sure at least most of you has had a paper cut. How many of you had a cardboard paper cut?
Cardboard paper cuts are awful.
Yes. Okay, Rale.
Yeah.
I'm pulling out my most powerful spell.
Oh no.
I cast Disney now owns your favorite IP.
No! You... Actually, wait a minute. Disney already owns most of my favorite IP.
God damn it. Target is already affected by the spell. God damn it!
Look, like the Black Cauldron series is owned by Disney for making movies. And they made a poor movie, and they keep on hinting they're gonna remake them, and then not remaking them.
Was the Black Cauldron bad?
It is and isn't. It has its merits, but it's not as good as it could have been, especially because they, like, mushed, like, the first 3 books together into one, and it doesn't work very well compared to the books.
I cast You Now Like a Troll in New York.
You mean a troll in Central Park?
Yeah. See, this is why I can't be a good wizard. Mr. Waffle Finster, you've got the spell wrong again.
Andy, king of miscasting.
Oh God.
Yes, that's right, everybody. They included a gacha game inside Fire Emblem, despite Fire Emblem already having a separate gacha game on the phone.
Do you like gotchas? I put a gotcha in your gotcha.
RimWorld, the reason why is to drive playtime. Lots of games do a thing of giving you a thing that's grindable, so that you'll keep coming back and keep playing.
I cast Hidden Fish in your car.
See, the funny thing is, RimWorld, that a lot of times it is a perfectly good game and doesn't need to be made better, and they just add it in there for funsies. Like, it's there for fun stuff.
I do notice that. I think one of the reasons why a lot of Nintendo games series can last so long is like every game has a little gimmick that they add.
Make it nice and
fun.
shiny.
I'd actually say a lot of Nintendo's staying power is that their games have a lot of personality.
Much better.
Rale, how would you make a cursed item? Let's say there was someone you were quite displeased or disheveled with, and so you're going to send them a ring.
Please be thorough.
Yeah, I don't know. You go to Walmart and get you like a $129 ring. What do you do to curse it?
Your cleaning skills are impressive.
I curse you that your car door will never shut correctly on the first try.
No, I mean, like, what do you do to give it bad juju? Like, what do you do to make
Handle
it
that gently.
cursed? Not like what the curse is, but like mine would be basically
Is that
to
not a
carve.
waste of time?
I mean, I guess I'd carve the curse
Thank
in
you.
Latin,
Now I can
and
stand
it would
by
have to
you
be
with
like
pride.
correct Latin, and I'd have to actually like pour hate into the damn thing.
I don't know. I don't think about cursing people that much.
You're no fucking fun.
I'm sorry.
This ring is filthy. Thanks
I
for
don't know,
taking
you're
care
not
of
even
this
going to
for
try and
me.
piss on it or something? Jesus Christ, Rale.
I'm
You know?
sorry I gave up on seeking cursing and vengeance on people because it just made me tired.
It's just for fun, Rale. Jeez. This ring causes phantom mouse movements. Oh God.
That's horrifying. Why would you do this?
I cast your TV randomly turns on in the middle of night.
I mean, see, now you've just made me think of cupholder.exe again.
Hey, Rale.
Yep.
The technology can get so advanced, but that it's indistinguishable from magic.
Well played. Well played.
Listen. The most scared I have ever been with a video game. I was playing Fallout 3, and I'm just going through the waste, and I've just wasted a raider. His body starts contorting and flopping around and like ultra ragdolling on the ground. And then his limbs and joints just start stretching out. And he's still flopping around, and then he lifts into the air, jolts to the left, jolts to the right, and then shoots off into the distance like a goddamn UFO.
Boss. The thief was too
And
quick for us. We lost track of
I'm
where she
sitting
went.
there and I'm legitimately scared that a demon has possessed my computer, and I like turn it off.
Oh, are we talking about Bethesda glitches?
No excuses.
Like, yeah,
Yes,
like
boss.
that scared me so bad. Like,
Am I about to hear
I
an
once knew a
excuse?
guy who was playing
There's a tough-looking bunch headed right
and
for
he
us.
had a bear
They're armed,
spawn
too.
Typical. How much
glitched
worse
and
can
would
today
not
get?
stop chasing him.
Whatever. This won't stop
Oh,
us.
Like, he
God.
crossed the
Battle
whole
squads
map,
in position
and
and
it would
ready
not
to move.
de-aggro
I want our
or
thieves in the
despawn.
treasury now.
see,
Once the
that's what I
treasury is
love about
secured,
Bethesda
get to a
games,
safe
though. Like,
place.
it's one of those
Done,
you call a glitch, I call it a feature. Like, okay, one time I killed a green dragon, and whenever I'd enter a city, its corpse would just be laying in the middle of the city, and everybody would be walking around like nothing happened. And I'm sitting there like, why is this dead dragon in the middle of the city and nobody's talking about it? Like, this one dead dragon is following me around the city.
So,
Is someone
I'd
talking?
make the argument that there is a
Sounds
difference
panicked,
between
whoever they
jank that is fun
Move your
and
butts and get in
jank that
position.
actively ruins the gaming experience.
Is there about to be a
Like,
fight?
for example,
I
Destiny
better
2
find some place
just
to
launched
hide.
its new expansion this week, and there's a lot of jank with the servers, and it keeps disconnecting
this is
people
my best
whenever
option.
it goes to play the cutscenes for the story. That is
I mean,
jank that's bad for
Can
the
you believe the
experience.
luck we're having
Oh,
today?
if it's jank that can,
Less talking,
if it's
more
jank
stalking.
that your
Make sure your
brain
gear is ready
automatically
before things kick
writes an interesting story about it, it's
Uh-oh.
good. Like,
This is way
you
too
were
many
you
bandits
were
to make a clean
followed by
getaway.
a grizzly bear that just absolutely hated your ass. Like, this was a vengeful, like, orca level
The townsfolk
bear.
told us about
Unbearable.
Yes.
I'd say we found it. I feel sorry
Mhm.
for all
Or
those
mine
poor
was like, I
villagers who
was
had their
haunted by,
valuables
like,
stolen.
this dragon.
Precious
I
keepsakes,
just...
family
The death of
heirlooms.
this dragon, he
Let's
hated
see
me
if we can
so
put them
much
back
that I
in
was
the right
cursed with the
hands.
visage of his
Well,
body
it looks
and
like we're in
driven
for a fight
insane.
before that can happen.
See,
Come on,
I never
Storm, you
ran
got it.
into a lot of jank in Skyrim, even on the initial release, because I was a sneak archer from the get-go. So
Oh, me too.
Yeah, the thing there... I think I found the best explanation for it. Like, the comparison was to the Mass Effect games, and I think it was Mass Effect Andromeda had just come out, and there was a lot of really glitchy stuff with people's faces in the game, and that apparently turned a lot of people off, but then they noticed a lot of the same people would say that, you know, they found the weird glitches in Skyrim hilarious. And the sense that could be made of that was essentially, well, Mass Effect and Dragon Age are very much relationship simulators in as much as they are RPGs. And that is a major mechanic there. So if the faces are getting all fucked up, it's not helping the experience of, you know, immersing yourself in that character relationship. Whereas Skyrim is about exploration, and exploration can include the amazing or the lol what.
Oh yeah, like that.
And so if
time
a dragon flies backwards and shoots fire out of its backside, then there you go.
Like that time I froze a troll because I was looking for troll fat for a potion. Yes,
Yeah.
I do alchemy. Fuck off. I was on fighting a troll on a hill and I froze him, and his corpse starts sliding down the mountain, and I'm literally running after the body, and it's sliding about as fast as I can run. So, you know, if you can imagine you're walking uphill and you suddenly see a frozen troll slide by, and then an adventurer going, hold on, wait.
Yeah. So, good news, I made it past the first interview.
Yay.
What's next?
So now I just have to wait for the second interviewer.
A little bit of
I was on the verge of tears.
uncalled for advice, because we love that.
Yay.
If you're pouring yourself a drink and you spill some, and the interviewer says, "Are you a little nervous?" You say, "No, I always give 110%."
Yeah, well, this being an online interview, thankfully I didn't have to give my usual spiel. So I have what's called essential tremors, where my body vibrates. And so I have to give people the shtick ahead of time. Like, by the way, I'm not nervous. I'm not dying. I literally just, my body does this.
I'm sorry, there's an active earthquake. There's an active earthquake, but I didn't want to miss this interview because I really need this job.
Yeah, so I won't say the name of the company because, you know, still all that kind of stuff, but
Wayland Yutani. Oh, no, Storm.
No! But it's like AV work for and set up for hotels, so it's things like, oh, somebody's going to go do a TED Talk, or they're setting up a convention, or there's going to be a concert here, and if I get it, it's a really fancy hotel.
Thank you.
Oh, Storm, you missed our iCast or our Wizard War.
Yeah.
You want to hear what my most powerful spell is?
What?
iCast Disney now owns your favorite IP.
Oh god, that's cruel. I think my favorite is may both sides of your pillow be warm.
Oh god, you monster.
Diggs described that as true sadism. Or something like
That really
that.
depends on how warm. So if it's like a hot pillow, like a hot pad pillow, yeah.
Well, yeah, then that's good.
I cast you only get 2 wishes.
I will not forget your loss.
I am
What is that?
So, responding to Ramshackle here, I'm fine with wired or wireless. My preferences for wired or wireless typically have to do with whether we're talking about speakers or microphones, because I'm an audio engineer, so, like, I can't not hear the delay that things like Bluetooth and wireless cause.
So, I was originally a all-wired guy, I
Yes.
recently have gotten a wireless mouse, and I use wireless controllers for my Switch. And at this point, I'd argue, at least controller-wise, if you're buying high-quality controllers, it doesn't matter.
Oh, Crispy, how dare you?
Now, if you're buying cheap stuff, wired all the way. But if you're buying high quality, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Also, for audio, it really depends on use. If it's my
Yeah.
PC, audio is wired 100%. Like my current headset is hardwired. If it's like I'm going out and walking, wireless.
Mm-hmm. Like at that point, yeah, I don't care as much. I'm talking more like I can tell the difference in like delays and so forth if I'm, say, trying to use it for a music project.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're getting into a level of detail that I think most people don't get into, unless you're like me or Pro or...
Nerd.
Yeah, basically.
Let me help.
Pretty weak.
Crispy, I can't believe you used points to highlight that. I just noticed that. And also, all I can think now is Crispy's got pink eye on his brown eye.
Ew! 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 Ew!
Very much ew. But it's Crispy's fault. I blame him.
This is fair.
Storm Song.
Yes?
I cast Congenital Amusia.
Ew. I release you from your curse. From now on, you have always won the game.
It's beat deafness.
Yep.
It
would have made me very sad.
Your sips will always be either too big of a sip or too little of a sip.
I cast you will always choke on water.
I cast macaroni and cheese will always give you a brain freeze. We are thinking up some curse stuff here.
I would say the I cast spells are more powerful the less words you use after I cast. Like, I cast Chlamydia would always be more powerful than I cast Severe STD or something like that.
I mean,
that's less of a shorter and more of a more specific, which is actually a thing in a lot of magic systems. Of when you get specific, you become more efficient because you're wasting less energy on like the side options.
I mean, Storm Song, it was either that or I cast Equinophobia on you.
What's Equinophobia again?
Fear of horses.
Oh, that would make me sad. Oh, Equine. Okay, I see it now.
Equine, I'm sorry.
All in the name of
No, it just... I'm used to hearing it.
You fucked the spell again, Mr. Waffles.
Oh. So mean.
I don't know how these guys are going to try to run. I know they're going to try to run, though.
They're going to try to run up on you. In your grill.
No, I'm
gonna
going to
run
try
these
to
numbers.
escape with the loot. One of them has a master seal.
I can still do more.
But do you need?
Ladies and gentlemen, that girl's bowstring has a 300-pound draw strength.
Yes.
Would you like to see how I kill dragons?
Let me help.
This is how Goj kills dragons.
Now that's a proper armored dude right there.
Yep.
I wear so much armor, I have to ride elevators alone.
Well, now you've just given me a scene for something.
I think they did that with The Thing in one of the Fantastic Fours. He had to get off.
Yep. I do seem to recall something to that effect.
So, was up, I actually find the big horses just like easy to deal with. The small horses, I worry too much about them getting injured.
Back in summer camp, I used to always be given the big horse because I was usually the largest kid. And, honestly, he was the nice one. He was, like, super chill. I didn't even learn until later he was blind. He just knew the path by heart.
We have to hurry and rescue her
I'm
from
sorry,
these
I love the main character seeing the child come out of his chest like, there was a child in there?
Get her!
I may have been restarting
If you
this
think you're
chapter.
gonna catch me that easily, think again!
Unless she's stronger than she looks. Maybe. We'll see. Oh, good. Those guys aren't trying to fight her.
You just gave me an idea for a scene for the story I'm writing. Look, kid, you're
How'd
stronger
you like to taste the ground, little man?
I was like, you're stronger than you look, kid. You're blind. Yes.
Do you see that video where the guy tries to get the blind girl to high-five him, and then he, like, shakes his head and then tries to get him to fist bump him, and then shakes his head, and then tries to shake her hand?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Sounds like something I'd do, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie.
That's perfect.
What? But you're not a bandit.
Uh-oh, Mickey, I forgot the sponge. Oh no, goof!
Well, I mean,
So,
I
for
could,
those who
but
don't know, this
It's a
character is
deal.
Anna. She is
It's
a
a million.
reoccurring
You might not
merchant
think
character
so, but I'm pretty
in
handy in a
every
fight.
Fire Emblem game.
Let me help you help
This
me.
is the first time she's a child.
So can you kind of use her to track, like, canon timeline, or...?
No, because all the games take place in well, almost all the games take place in there.
I
Is she
feel like
like
the Zelda fandom would have something to say about that. No.
Is she like the pockets
Here
of
I
this
go.
game series?
I'd
Pockets
almost say
is,
think Tingle, but not creepy.
well, when I say pocket, or like Sid, kind of, from Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
so-
Sid, like Sid would be.
Well, Sid is a different character every time, whereas this is implying this is the same character?
No, different character each time, different version of her. They always look
Oh,
the
okay,
same,
I
but it is a distinct character.
Okay, so it is the Sid, then.
Yeah.
What's funny about calling it the Sid is that,
It is
the Sid...
Campeador.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm on about.
I think I'm getting the name of the guy I said. I said Pockets. It's the sleazy guy in all the Dark
worry,
Souls,
I'm fine.
Bloodborne games that like tricks. She's like, look, there's
Patches.
treasure down there. Patches, yeah. There's treasure down there. Why don't you bend over and have a look?
Way to flex those muscles.
She's got
Hashtag
one
Patches
big
did
arm.
nothing wrong.
Hashtag Patches did everything.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to
I am
cause
now
salt.
petting Patches.
Actually, Patches. I think Patches technically exist in some of the Armored Core series too.
I don't know about that, but I know he's one of the few characters that's like in all of the Dark Souls games, like all the way through, if I understand correctly.
I'm sure there's a bad guy mercenary called Patches or something like that, or at least has the same voice actor and is very sleazy.
I'm always amused at the idea that I think it's Ubisoft that decided that either most or all of their games take place in the same canon.
I'll manage.
So Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry are all in the same world.
Weird flex, but okay.
It's just like... It's basically the world of Venture Bros if it took itself too seriously. If you think about it, it's all like...
Because Venture Pros is no more.
Yeah. Take heart, for he will make other things.
Yeah.
We shall enjoy
Wasn't
those
it,
too.
like, not even doing bad? Cartoon Network just decided to shelve it because they
I mean, it's easy to say that. There may be more to it than that. Like, it may ultimately boil down to something that seemingly stupid. A lot of times, these decisions, there's some invisible factor that doesn't necessarily justify it, but if you were in the boardroom, you could see how you maybe thought that that was a good idea. That said, outside of the boardroom, it does seem like a pretty unintelligent.
If you become a CEO, try to avoid sniffing your own farts.
I will not forget your loss.
Or, you know, taking one set of numbers too seriously when you don't know about another set of numbers. A lot of... Andrew.
You did that a little too well.
Andrew.
I cast Giggle Fit.
Andronicus Waffle Bottom. How dare thee?
You know how I know this is
Waffle
a good
Fenster.
stream? Because my jaw is hurting from smiling too much.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
Yes,
Never a bad thing.
Smiling is like food. Not everybody gets it.
All in a day's work.
When I was younger, I thought the sword was the coolest weapon. Now that I'm older, I want a good flanged mace.
I'm quite the halberd fan myself.
Spears.
I'm going to break something, and I don't want you to necessarily quickly heal from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like halberds and poleaxes.
A lot of people, I think most people don't understand the significance of the spear.
Oh, yeah.
People so part of it is because as someone who actually has used spears to actually spar with people, I wouldn't say I don't use the word fight because it's not like I was trying to murder them. So the thing with spears is that it kind of has a weird skill versus effectiveness plateau. It plateaus really early of no matter how good you are with the spear, it's only going to be this effective until you hit a certain point, and then it spikes really, really high. And someone who's like an absolute master with a spear is way more of a threat than someone who's an absolute master with a sword.
Well, but even beyond that, I mean, there's also the fact that even that early plateau still allows for a weapon of such ubiquity to be efficiently used by large numbers.
Yeah, it's like you get a line of spears, it's like, yeah, come charge it.
Thank you.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you get the front row with like a 5-foot spear, and you get the back row with 6-foot spears. It's like,
Meanwhile,
So-
swords' skill for effectiveness tend to be a relatively flat diagonal, from what I've experienced. You'll get effective payoff for effective training.
Well, I was thinking more of the romanticization of it, and how many people have probably died from it. There's like,
It's a lot easier to pose with the sword and look cool. That's entirely it.
Well, another thing there is that fencing is one of the few melee martial arts that survived into like modern stuff. Whereas
had to deal with like arrow flinch stuff.
Yeah, whereas if you see the stuff like, you know, in Chinese movies, there's a lot of very beautifully choreographed spear fighting, and a lot of that was better preserved in their culture. For us, it's, you know, we kind of have fencing as a draw point.
I'll take this.
And or boxing and kickboxing, which is why those are so heavily emphasized in American action films. Now, I do have to actually here, if you guys don't mind me doing so for a minute. Somebody was saying the sword is only a backup weapon anyways, and it's like, yes, for knights, for like European militaries, that was true. There are plenty of militaries historically where a sword was actually a fairly common weapon, such as in the Roman legions. So, like, a blanket statement like that one has to be careful. But yes, as far as European combat styles go, swords were self-defense weapons for usually nobles or knights.
It also depends on your definition of backup, because backup isn't always the right term. It's more so like if you're
I'll do my
comparing
best.
spears to swords, of you carry a spear and a sword. It's less that sword is like a backup for you losing the spear. It's more that the sword is your get in close and dirty weapon, while your spear is hold them off and hold formation weapon.
Or if you're being grabbed.
Which is why then they say backup weapon, because you don't want to get up close and dirty. Yeah. But then you do have weird occasions like the German Zweihanders, which were specialist weapons, and assuming that the historicity of all that is correct, because a lot of that stuff gets written down by people who exaggerate or this or that. But yeah.
So I'd actually say though, if I had to if I were going to deal with being stuck with just medieval weapons, sheer utility, a tomahawk with specifically the kind of tomahawk that has the hammer on the back of the axe blade.
That's not a bad choice at all.
You know, there's recently Elder Scrolls Online came out with a trailer that has this badass knight with a big two-handed, I think it's a bastard sword, but I'm not sure, or claymore, but it's the kind of two-handed sword that above the hilt there's actually more leather strapping.
That's a Zweihander, or there were some claymores that were made like that too, but that's a full-on greatsword where
and
what almost as much a full arm as it is a blade.
Oh yeah, what I liked about it is like the whole sword can be used as a weapon, like not just the blade, but the hilt and the butt of the everything, because you use it to like crack a guy in the head, or you can grab the blade end of the sword and the handles would be sharp, so you just like use it as a pick and just drive it into someone's helmet. Like the guy was using that sword expertly in that anime. It wasn't just like swinging around the sharp end. He was like using it to disarm, to wedge things out of people's arms.
Oh yeah,
he like butted a guy in the head. He was just that sword was an extension of who he was.
So
yeah, and a lot of people forget that you would have a very master with a tool kind of relationship with your weapon.
Oh yeah.
So
think about how well you know how to use a hammer or something.
Yeah. Going back to real life with the spear, the number of people who I dunked on simply because they keep expecting only the pointy bit is the threat, and then finding out that the butt end of the spear and the haft are also threats, and I will use them to beat into you and force an opening for the pointy bit.
Oh yeah. And you could use a spear to trip someone up too, like go for their leg or something.
So the dumbest thing that I've ever done with a spear that shouldn't have worked but was awesome that it did was thrusting for their feet and then kicking it up mid-thrust into their stomach. No, if you actually do any sort of like sparring or anything, do not do this. This is really stupid showboating and was kind of a dick move on my part.
It's been years since I've done any like SCA type stuff.
Sometimes I like watching sword experts, and one of the things that they almost unanimously hate is the spin around attack with your sword.
Oh yeah, that's just Hollywood dance choreography kind of stuff that people.
I remember there was a sword competition, and a guy basically pulled out something out of Bloodborne, and like won the competition, or like got a point off on it. And this guy's like freaking out, like, "Well, I guess it does work." He's just sitting there watching over and over again. He says, "Okay, this is what he he did something he shouldn't have done, and it paid off for once."
Well, so there was back in wrestling, there was a move that we were always told never to do, which was a head and arm roll, because head and arm rolls are something that you learn a counter for pretty regularly in wrestling. The problem is no one uses them, and so I actually got away with it several times because nobody remembered how to defend against it.
There's a value to surprise factor, but in the case of like my spear kick thing, that is just going to leave you massively open. Like, yes, it's a show-off of I'm skilled enough to do this and actually hit with it, but I'm also leaving myself so open in a real fight I would get dunked on immediately.
Back in a fight, give someone... Yeah.
Need some help?
Call Miyoshi has the right of it there.
End of stream. We've got roughly 12 minutes left. What we'll probably do is finish this chapter, let the text go, and then save when we get to the end of chapter little walk around thing. I need to stop forgetting Anna down here, because she's going to be my replacement axe fighter, because she's better than Boucheron.
I cast Forgive Yourself.
Aww.
Doesn't work twice, Andy. How dare you?
Damn
I
you
know.
for playing us for
I just
fools.
wanted Storm
You'll
to hear
never
it.
get your hands on that treasure.
Because I care about his opinion. I'm joking.
Yes, Andy, I knew you were joking. Nobody cares about stuff.
So mean. I cast self-worth! If only.
Oh, that cheap level 1 spell. The low cooldown.
Gonna tell you, kids, never be afraid of seeking out therapy. We all have junk.
Yep.
One day, I want to pull back just a massive arrow that, when it hits its target, it just makes a nice, hefty, like, thunk sound. Like,
So fun
that
fact,
wasn't even
most arrows make a satisfying noise if you're close enough to the target to hear it.
I want it to sound like a fucking javelin hit a tree or something like that. Like,
Yeah. If you're close enough to hear it, usually it's hitting with enough speed, especially on heavier draws, that, yeah, it's going to be a very satisfying thump.
I like that dancing light.
I like archery, and I like specifically trying to find manga about, like, you know, fantasy archery.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like the what was it, the Blue Moonlight isekai that's has gotten an anime recently. I don't know, I just like the idea of pulling back an arrow and, oh god, it's like a tungsten rod of death coming down, but it's on fire or something.
So I went crossbow shooting with a friend and learned that I might have been very popular in medieval Italy.
Why?
Because apparently I'm really good with crossbows. Like, I can't aim worth a damn with a gun, but with a crossbow I can actually aim really good.
So, Andy, you talked about the liking archery manga. Reminded me, one of my weirdest things that I just really enjoy, even though I don't actually like play it at all, golf manga of all things. Specifically this current one, Greens. Trust me, all golf manga have stupid names. It's nothing new. It's just really good. It's very enjoyable. It makes me actually want to play golf, even though I know I'd be terrible at it.
You know what? I try finding fishing manga. And here's the thing. I am often surprised about how many soccer, or I'm sorry, kickball. Oh, God damn it. We call it soccer, football manga.
There's one,
but there's also a lot of volleyball manga too.
There's one
and baseball
going on right now that's actually rugby manga.
You know what? I just thought of something. It's gonna blow both of your minds. I swear to God. If it doesn't make you guys have a like, oh my God, I remember that moment. I don't know. I'll say I'm gonna do something, but not actually do it. The Green. The movie The Green.
Why do I remember that?
That would have been a good manga. Like, instead of a live action movie, I think it would have been a good manga.
Will keep these bandits from causing any more trouble.
I think it was called The Green, right?
You guys are really
The Big Green?
Yeah, The Big Green.
Yeah, so the one about the kid playing soccer.
Yeah, it had that fat, red-headed, stepchild-looking actor kid that was in
You'd be placing yourself in danger.
that one movie where he's
Sandlot.
like, "You're killing me, Smalls."
The Sandlot.
Yeah, that kid. He was like the main character in that. He was a little popular around that time in movies.
Not until
Yeah, he was sort of the basis of that whole archetype in 90s film of, fat, loud kid.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's had a massive glow up.
Well, if that's what you want, I have no
objection. Or he.
I'm the Divine Dragon. Looking forward to working with you.
Hang on, what? You're the Divine Dragon?
And soon they will grow into battle-hardened veterans who are emotionally unavailable, distant, and psychotically murderous.
Pleasure to be in business.
No, child, there are no such things as divine dragons. Dragons are a beast of Satan himself and must all be purged from God's holy light.
So there's a funny thing about that. So it's not like a particularly big theological point, but a lot of our imagery of like angels and such comes more from like Greco-Roman painting. But if you look at like the actual Hebraic descriptions in like the pre-translated versions of the Bible, a lot of the descriptions of God say things like legs of bronze taking you under his wings, smoke pouring from his nostrils. And it's like, he's got a dragon?
Are you saying that Crystal Dragon Jesus is more on point than it should be?
Well, given that the word seraphim, or burning one, also refer to a kind of serpent and a winged serpent in their imagery,
not
possible.
The winged serpent.
Oh my.
So it's possible that, what the Hebrew people thought of as angels is something that we would think of as like a celestial dragon. Now, again, it's not really a big theological point because you're talking about like a spiritual entity, but it's just interesting food for thought.
It's always interesting how many different cultures have some variant of a winged serpent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then you get into the eyeballs flying around the ring and stuff.
Oh yeah, I like the biblically accurate angel like pictures people show on, or videos of people like Jesus Christ. Yes, that's right.
There's that one picture where you see the one angel, and it's like a traditional angel, and he looks like Brock, from Pokemon or something. And somebody says something that makes him fully open his eyes, and when he does, he's no longer Brock. He's the full like ring of eyes.
A lot of the descriptions of not only angels, but some of the demons, like, they're just a mess of random animal parts. Like, I think there's a demon that's like a crow's or a raven's head with just a mass of tentacles behind it.
Alright, lads, it is time to wrap up, though. So,
Okay.
anything to say before we go?
Y'all be good to each other.
Yes,
be kind out there.
And choose one color for your hair, for crying out loud.
Not all of us can be Tuomas.
Yeah.
Alright, everyone. Stay safe, stay stylish, and have a beautiful time. Bye!
Bye! I cast in stream!